Welcome to the Couch Potato Sports Show, your internet radio home for all sports, news, and talk. Join Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, and the Eagle Eye, Bill Cerna, and the best co-host anyone could ask for, Cuervo. We cover it all. NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, as well as indoor football and high school sports. Now, it's time. Here's Sonny Clark.
Yo, everybody. Welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, as we are here on. That being said, our Sunday morning tradition continues on here into our 11th season. Welcome, everybody, to week number 2 of the NFL, and week number 1 was how can you say 6-10 for old Sonny here in his picks, and that included Thursday night as far as that is concerned. So I really only got 5 on Sunday, as well as the Monday night games in week number 1. But before we get to that, and hopefully Cuervo is putting on his face, getting his hazelnut coffee all set, ready to go, but I want to go back to week number 1 because, believe me, there's been a lot of talk after week number 1 of the NFL, and there is just so much craziness. And first of all, I want to just jump on the big thing. Okay, the big thing that people are talking about was Tom Brady. Of course, everybody knew that Tom Brady was going to be the story, and if you didn't, you don't pay attention to football. And that's fine if you don't, I mean, but that's just the way it is. Good to see you, John, and of course, my brother right there. The boss he is. I sent him the link if he's going to jump in, I don't know. But back to Tom Brady, week number 1. Already, this is week 1. This is one game. I almost feel like Allen Iverson going, we're talking about practice. We're talking about one game. And the majority of the people say, Tom Brady's washed up. Tom Brady can't play football. Tom Brady sucks. All right. Let me just put this out to you, okay? If you're some of the bad football teams in the NFL and you're a fan of one of those bad football teams, believe me, you want Tom Brady before whatever the hell you got starting at the starting quarterback position. You're just not paying attention. You're biased. You hate the Patriots. They won 6. They embarrassed your football team somehow, or whatever the case may be. Tom Brady is not washed up. My God. By the way, I will not accept the excuse, and I mean the excuse. No, they had no preseason. They didn't have any training. No, Tom Brady blew it. And it happens when you're the GOAT. You have bad games. And when you have bad games, you get bad results, obviously. But if you honestly think Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers suck that much, you don't know football, you don't know personnel, and now, you want to say they don't have chemistry? I'm with you. You want to say, well, there's some things they need to improve on, and maybe within time they'll put together. I'm with you. But to say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers suck is you saying I don't know football, or I have a bias against Tom Brady. I'm sorry, you do. And I don't care if Tom Brady's 42 years old, okay? They're going to win more games than they lose, and they're going to make the playoffs. Maybe, I hope, based upon our predictions. But that's number 1. Okay? Now, I don't want, also, after week number 1, for people to look at a team and say, oh, my God, they're out for greatness. Okay? And the reason why I want to say that is because a classic example of people talking about some of the things that are going on as far as the Raiders are concerned. Guys, this is Carolina. They're not great, and they haven't put it together. But the Raiders are not that good. Let's just mark it the way that it is. They're not that good. Jacksonville, my football team, by the way, my team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Listen, they're not a good football team. All right? They are not good. So, Jacksonville Jaguar fans, get out of your own way because remember who they played, Indianapolis, and Phillip Rivers was all over the place. Is he washed up? I don't know. But I want to tell you straight up, this is, and some other games out here, okay? New England, the great Cam Newton. Oh, my God. He was spectacular. No, he wasn't. And also, remember, they played the Miami freaking Dolphins. Why are we anointing Cam Newton like he is some sort of football quarterback? God, he's not. I'm not saying he didn't play well, but the amount of the lavish praise for Cam Newton, please spare me. Please spare me. Listen, I'm not going to say they're not going to win this week or whatever. I'm not even going to say that. But he did not play well, and it was the Miami Dolphins. So quit anointing Cam Newton as the next big thing right now. Slow down. Pump those brakes, okay? And if you have air brakes, shh, and shh. Okay? Slow down. Unbelievable. Washington Redskins fan, be happy you won. You're not that good. And if you think you're not good. Philadelphia is not good either, but they should have won that football game. But slow down. Because maybe Philadelphia is not as bad as what they kind of showed on week 1. How about another game where people just, unbelievable. Arizona over San Francisco. Listen, I get it. Kyler Murray, I get it. But pump the brakes here. Slow down. Who is that? Bryce. Okay. He's going to try. But pump the brakes here. Air brakes. Shh. Slow down on this. He's good football player. I'm not going to take any, but shh. Slow down. Week 1. No. Now the excuses of no training camp and everything. Shh. Yeah, I get it. No preseason. Shh. It's week 1. Unbelievable. Ram fans, hey, slow down. Listen, you might have a good chance of being good. So I can see the optimism in the Rams, although I don't think they're going to be as great as what they are. And so slow down. And also, for all my Pittsburgh Steeler fans, okay, slow down too. Just slow. You're good, but slow down. Week number 1, my God. Hey, and I get it. I understand. Do you want to have – listen, I don't have any props for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They got lucky. I mean, hey, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Ask John Chavez and those old gladiators. No, I'm just joking. They were a good team. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. Just slow down. Pump the brakes a little bit. Because week number 2, it could be a completely different story. Some other things that I took away from week number 1, I want you just to understand, okay? Just these things, okay? The Texans should have never traded DeAndre Hopkins because their wide receiver core is a mess. The Chiefs, after week number 1, they're still a top 1 or 2 team in the NFL right now. The Jets, even though it's one of those things where I picked the Jets in week 1 because based on they have nothing to lose. Listen, they're in big trouble. I thought the Jacksonville Jaguars, my football team was bad. Oh my God, the Jets might be in complete trouble. And that is too bad because I love that quarterback. I've got some mad love for the quarterback. Wish he was on a different football team. Stephon Diggs and pretty much is what you call that final piece of the puzzle that you can put in for maybe the Buffalo Bills. Watch out. That could be huge. The Packers defense, guess what? They still stink. But, but the wide receivers it should be concerning Green Bay. The Vikings defense is going to get exposed all year long. I have a feeling about this. This is the reason why I picked Minnesota to finish last in that division. They were suspect at defense anyway. I didn't feel good about it. Carson Wentz is going to be an injury guy all year long. And unfortunately, this might not be his fault. That offensive line is pathetic. Let me just say it again. Pathetic in Philadelphia. The Washington football team, okay? They might have something with Ron Rivera. I thought it was a pretty good, decent hire, experience, all that. Maybe he can put something together because, listen, Washington had no business winning week number 1. Who'd they play? Philadelphia. The Browns, they look like the Browns. And I don't, by the way, don't anoint the Browns after Thursday night's football game. I'll get to that in a minute. But don't anoint the no, let me just do it now. Listen, they played a football team that defense is horrible. And guys, to get up 30 points, the Browns defense needs help. Slow down, pump those brakes, Browns fan. Shh. Air brake you. Air brake. Shh. Slow down. The Ravens still look unstoppable right now. Probably, it's Chiefs, Ravens, 1-2 maybe in the NFL right now. They're the only ones. Phillip Rivers might be washed up more than I thought maybe he was going to be. I don't know. But after Indianapolis takes the loss to my Jacksonville Jaguars, the future doesn't look so bright, but you could probably take the shades off. I don't know. We'll find out week number 2 because there's a lot of things that are going to happen in week number 2. And listen, before anybody anoints Gardner Minshew of my Jacksonville Jaguars, Jacksonville Jaguars, guys, Gardner Minshew sucks. Okay, let me just get it out there. He sucks. He's always sucked. He might have a good game here and there, but Gardner Minshew is not the answer for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Why? Because he sucks. Period. End of story. And if you want to live on Gardner Minshew mania, you can go ahead, Jacksonville Jaguar fans. I ain't buying it. Unbelievable. Now, with Ruggs, that Raider offense, I said the steal of the draft might have been him. And guess what? He looked pretty good. He had a little injury issue, but he looked pretty good. Teddy Bridgewater didn't look in a loss, did not look too bad as they took on those Raiders. So I kind of like what I seen in week number 1 for Teddy Bridgewater. Wish they would have got the win because I got some mad love for Teddy Bridgewater. In fact, in Jacksonville, I'd rather have me some Teddy Bridgewater. That's just me. Mitchell Trubisky. This is the one that I wanted to save for Cuervo, but he is late. But Bear fans, shh. You're lucky you got that football game win. You're lucky you won week number 1 against Lions. Because here's the problem. Sometimes, and if you could go back 4 years ago, Matthew Stafford could win you a football game, put you in a position. But, man, that defense let that football team down. They can't maintain the lead, and it doesn't have to necessarily do with the offense per se. The Seattle Seahawks, I'm just going to say it. They're the best team in the NFC. I'm telling you right now. The Dolphins, you better start Tua. Listen, I said it before, when you got a stupid nickname, you should never start in the NFL. Stupid nicknames in the NFL should be just disallowed. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Dolphins are going to start a stupid nickname over a rookie. And what's the damn difference? He needs to start week number 2. I'll find out if he is. I got some of my notes. I'll let you know about that. Now, to Cam Newton, the passing was a little inconsistent. But I don't want to take that away from him. The guy hadn't been out on the football field. And I don't even want to take the win away from him. But again, pump the brakes a little bit on Cam Newton. I want to see a little bit more. I want to see if he can stay healthy. That's the number one thing. Then I want to see how they put it. The Chargers offense looks god-awful with Tyrod Taylor. You need to make the change over there. Joe Burrow, in his debut, had some rookie mistakes, but that final drive in week 1, I'm telling you right now, they don't miss that field goal, they win the football game. In the story, Joe Burrow might be the guy here in a few years. DeAndre Hopkins for the Arizona Cardinals is a machine. That trade was the best trade of the offseason period, bar none. It's not even close. Tom Brady again. Didn't look like that, Tom Brady, but watch out for him. You can sleep on him all damn day long if you want. Or you want to make the excuses, well, he played in the AFC East. It's the worst division of football when you got a good football. Yes, but you still got to go in, week out, win football games, and you have to win games outside your division. Shut up with it. That makes no sense. It doesn't. The Steelers look pretty good with Ben Roethlisberger. They have a shot at the division and possible wild card. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. Let me tell you something. That 1-2 punch has the potential to be explosive. That offensive line, they are in trouble, and Jason Garrett's going to take the heat for that, although I don't know if that's necessarily fair, but it's going to happen just basically because of who he is. But that offensive line in New York, you better get it figured out. The Titans were lucky to win that game. They played horrible throughout the game, but guess what? The NFL is about taking opportunities and finding a way to win. That right there shows moxie. Watch out for those Tennessee Titans. Drew Lock for the Denver Broncos needs a little help still. If the Broncos want to be considered for a playoff spot, I want them to. I love me some Drew Lock. But I'm going to tell you right now, that whole situation is huge too. Where that's going to go, I don't know. But that's week number 1 in a nutshell, looking at what we are seeing what we are seeing in the NFL. Now, does the idea of what week number 2 can come to, I don't know. I went 6-10. The boss, my brother, is in first place as far as the picks that we're keeping track of, along with Tarvin, both 10-6. Cuervo went 9-7. I went a dismal 6-10. And then I started off the week 0-1 with Thursday Night Football. I took Cincinnati. Cuervo took Cincinnati. Tarvin, as well as my brother, the boss, took the Cleveland Browns. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the highlights. It's about 3.5 minutes. I want you to enjoy. Browns fan, enjoy. Okay? This might be the only thing that you'll see this season that will make you feel good about the season. Okay? But here's the highlights from the game that happened on Thursday night. Well, well, I got no vocal. Well, then we'll stop that. Okay, I have no vocal. I thought I uploaded it so you can watch them, but without having the commentary, I don't know. I don't think that's a good idea to play, so we're not going to do it. So that being said, that's the name of this show, guys. What we're going to do, we're going to hop into our first commercial, guys. I understand something here. I'm waiting on Cuervo, but I'm not going to wait on Cuervo. I'm going to jump into the games because we have 16 games. Hopefully, we'll get Cuervo and his picks in there. I have my brother's picks. I knew I forgot to do something. I forgot to write them down. I do have my brother's picks as well. bBoss, DC, Dennis Clark. So we'll do that. We're going to take the quick break here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. When we come back, guys, we just got to get to it. Show starts at 9. That means we're going to hit it at 9. You're watching the Couch Potato Sports Show here on, we're on 3 platforms today. We are on Facebook Live. We are on YouTube. And we're also on Twitch. I don't know how we are. I just set it up. I'm switching we get 3 places where we can send it. I'm going to switch from week to week from Periscope to Twitch on the 3rd one. We'll always be on Facebook. We'll always be on YouTube. So you're watching the Couch Potato Sports Show. We'll be right back.
There is nothing that beats good home-cooked barbecue. Since 1941, whether you want real Texas brisket, Virginia ham, southern pulled pork, or fall-off-the-bone ribs, Dickey's Barbecue is the place to go. Come visit us today at 5701 President George Bush Turnpike, Suite 110 in the Target Shopping Center. For lip-smacking, rib-tickling, knee-slapping, foot-stomping, great-tasting barbecue, come see us at Dickey's Barbecue today.
Landon Huey, and 19 Ministries.
One of the things we want to do is Rowlett Revival, and we know that there are a lot of hurting and broken people across the city. Bring in a guest speaker, and he's just going to share the love of Christ, and we want to connect people in the city up with churches.
So make sure you contact Landon Huey at 19 Ministries at 972-835-8665, or check him out on the web at 19ministries.org or uniterowlett.org. Ever want to know why Bill and I look so good on our broadcast? Check out K West Designs on Facebook. You can take a look at our pictures and see the quality of the work that comes from K West Designs, especially if you have a special occasion. Just get on Facebook, look up K West Designs right in the search bar, contact them directly for questions or anything that you may have regarding your personal design. At Nest Egg Wealth Advisors, we have found many people either approaching or currently in retirement failed to truly maximize some of the benefits offered to them, primarily Social Security. It's simply not a benefit that you start receiving at age 62. If you would like a complimentary copy of Social Security Maximization, please give our office a call today at 972-412-6064 or visit us on the web at nesteggadvice.com. Liberty Air and Heat. Everybody knows what the Texas Heat can do to your air conditioning and heating systems. That's why you need the experts that deliver the best and most honest service in the Rowlett area. We provide the high-quality air conditioning and heating services that keep you more comfortable when you need it. So contact Liberty Air and Heat at 469-678-9444 or visit them on the web at libertyairandheat.com.
And welcome back into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, along with...
You didn't know? Your ass better call somebody!
It's Cuervo on a Sunday morning. The little late got done putting on his face in an ugly jersey. Maybe not. No, I'm not sure. I can't see the jersey. Wait, what you got on today? Ah, okay. So you got the good jersey on. You did good. All right. So that being said, welcome in. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, Sonny. How are you, my friend?
Fantastic. How much of the diatribe did you hear from me here earlier today?
I caught about the last, I'd say, 10 minutes or so.
Yeah,
about.
right. So you heard a little bit about some of my things that I saw in week number 1 of the NFL and things. So those were the things that, I actually took. That's stupid. I actually sat there and I wrote things down while I was watching the football game. Amazing. I normally don't do that. I just usually go with this, but this is not working as well as it used to. So I'm writing the stuff down because I know last year I was going, God, I meant to say this. I meant to say that. So I'm writing it down a little bit here.
Gotta take notes. Nothing wrong with that.
So what did you see in week number 1? I mean, I kind of went off on my tangent here. And my main thing is guys are really excited about their football teams that played horrible football teams, and now they think they're, Super Bowl or playoff bound, and they're kind of. I told them to pump the brakes. Have you ever heard of air brakes? You hear the air brakes. They make they make that shh sound. Guys, pump the brakes a little bit here.
I want to get those rotors checked too.
Absolutely. What did you see in week number 1?
Yeah, you know what? What I saw was actually a couple things I noticed. I thought teams played a lot more fluid than I thought they would.
Yeah.
I thought there'd be a lot more penalties just due to the lack of preparation for a lot of these teams, and it just felt like it was just as if teams were in week 6, week 5, week 6 already. It was actually quite impressive at how attention to detail teams were, even despite the lack of training camp and prep time and things like that when it comes to just the season itself. So I thought it was well played around the league. I thought all teams for the most part look like how NFL teams are supposed to look.
Really?
And what I mean by that, Sonny, look, I know we got teams that performed badly, but when it comes to like I said, the penalty thing, when it comes to the mental mistakes that you would find if you knew that a football team just wasn't prepared. It's not even about like Cleveland only scoring 6 points against Baltimore. I think we kind of expected that because we know how strong of a team Baltimore is.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is when it comes to how do I explain this? So, people knowing their assignments, people not running on and off the field for substitution purposes, like that's the type of stuff that I was thinking about, and teams actually did pretty good with all that. So
you're saying they kind of look more in sync than you really kind of expected from.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I get it, and that makes sense. I mean, because I thought so too. But there's also a couple of things that I saw as far as week number 1 that shows like man, wish they had some training camp going on there. So I get it, I understand it. But some teams are a little bit better than that, and some of the teams that are bad football teams. The Jacksonville Jaguars. So, by the way, I pulled out old school. I went old school here.
There you go.
Like major
wow.
old school right there. So that's when that was the.
Is that like the first Jaguars hat ever made?
This is the second Jaguar hat that was ever
Wow.
made. Was made where they showed the NFL and they had just a little logo up on the side. And I don't know where that one is. I just found that one. But, I looked at week number 1. I saw some football teams getting way too confident and way too happy about getting wins. Hey, listen, your Bears, I'm going to even put it out there, okay? Yeah, your Bears came back, okay? Now, they did play Detroit. And so you got to take a look at that, which is pretty pathetic when you think about it. And the head coach of that football team is in a lot of trouble because that defense didn't hold them down. And listen, you go back about 3 or 4 years ago, Matthew Stafford was the king of comebacks in the fourth quarter. Well, he's still been pretty good at that. But the problem is now the defense can't stop anybody in order for them to maintain that lead in the fourth quarter. And that's going to be a problem for them if they don't get that fixed. It's going to be an ugly rest of the season for them.
You know what's funny about that, though, Sonny, is as I'm watching the game and going into the fourth quarter, it was 23-6, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is not going well for me. And so they score the first touchdown, and I'm looking around and I say, you know what? I said, this is when Stafford blows games. And my lady looks at me. She goes, yeah, hon, I don't think the Bears are going to win this game. I was like, no, you watch. I said, this is when Stafford blows games. And I'll be damned if they didn't score that next touchdown. And then I see on red zone that they got the interception. I was like, don't call it a comeback. I'm telling you. So I just had that sneaking suspicion that I was like, somehow I have a feeling that Detroit's going to do it again. They're going to find a way to lose this game, and the blame's going to go on Matthew Stafford. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you something. I'm ecstatic that the Bears came back and won this game. Should they have won this game? No, they should not have won this game. I was very disappointed in the defense. I expected the offense to struggle and just not find ways to score points, and that's what they showed me going into the fourth quarter. But I think this one is on the defense of the Detroit Lions.
Absolutely.
And that's supposed to be the focal point of this team because their head coach is a defensive-minded coach.
Yeah.
So
supposedly, yeah.
Supposedly. But with that being said, I just think that that Lions defense let them down. And when you let guys like Darius Slay go, look, I understand you drafted Okudah to kind of replace him, but I think you saw last Sunday the Lions are going to miss this. They're going to miss Darius Slay throughout the season, and I think that that they need a leader on the defense because you look at that defense, Sonny. Who's the leader right now? And Ndamukong Suh gone. No, Darius Slay gone. I think they had a couple linebackers that were pretty good. Those guys are gone. So they really don't have a leader on that defense to say when we need a big play, we can count on this guy to help make it happen. They just don't have that right now. And I think that's part of the reason, another reason why I picked Detroit to finish last in the division because they don't have a sound leader on defense. Matthew Stafford, still continues to struggle. He can't hold on to leads. And it's not always his fault. So
exactly, yes.
That's why I'm not very I know you got some love for the Lions, Sonny, but kind of like how I had love for your Jacksonville Jaguars a few years ago. You're like, I just don't see it, even though it's your team. I don't see it with the Lions. So
yeah. We'll see what happens to them. They got a tough road to hoe, as they take on Green Bay in Green Bay today, which is not good for the Lions whatsoever. So, but that being said, of course, that's the name of this show. We might as well start off week number 1 with your team as the Chicago Bears. Okay, they take on the New York Giants. Baby, this game is at Chicago, which is a good thing, I guess. I don't know. By the way, how many games are going to have crowds odds today. Do you know? I can't even find out where that's coming from. But you found out. Where are they at? How many games?
Well, it's interesting because I noticed. Yeah, I'd have to get an update on that, Sonny. I think I want to say there's going to be about maybe 5 games or so that have crowds.
Okay.
But it's a state thing. And,
yes. Exactly. It's all about what they're going to do, what they're going to lift, and what in order to have the people in the stands. And then, regardless, we'll never see a pat. By the way, though, that Clemson game, there are a lot of people in the fans over there at that Clemson football game yesterday. But that's a different story. That's a different day. Let's go to that. Let's go to the New York Giants. The New York Giants 0-1. Your Chicago Bears 1-0 out on the season. Congratulations for the big comeback, Daniel Jones. He was under pressure all day long. That offensive line is god awful in New York. I mean, Saquon Barkley, and him, and that being him being Jones, are and to add more insult to injury, they get the Chicago Bear defense coming at them after the Steelers just a complete and total debacle out there. So you take a look at that. That is huge. Couple of picks for Daniel Jones against the Steelers. And those were what I call pressure interceptions. He was under pressure and throwing that football up for grabs. You take a look at the Bears rally again for 17 points down in the fourth quarter against Detroit. So that is huge there. But the big key to this game, if the Giants are going to win this game, is they have to give Saquon Barkley at least a little room to run right now. And last week didn't get it. So if that straightens out, I think we might see a pretty interesting game. Jimmy Graham, he had a touchdown catch, but he had a total of only 3 receptions. I want to see him get more involved with them. They brought him in there for that reason. Big target for Mitchell Trubisky, Cuervo.
Yeah. And excuse me, Sonny. And I thought we'd see more of the rookie, too, Cole Kmet out of Notre Dame. I didn't really see a whole lot of him. At least they didn't show anything on Red Zone. But, I'm interested to see how they're going to implement Kmet into the offense. But, yeah, I mean, Jimmy Graham should have had a second touchdown, got called back. I
think they need to put a main target on him. I mean, look at the wide receivers, Cuervo. Listen, it's nothing to write home. I'm not being horrible, but there's nothing you can write home to mama about. I can actually see your face. You look like Two-Face there at the beginning. So now I can see your face. Wow.
The sun was in my face.
So, but that being said, finding targets and making them targets and putting them in a main part of the offense, I think is key to the Bears' success this year. And Jimmy Graham has got to be a big part of that because of the fact of the lack of the wide receivers out there.
Yeah, and and it doesn't help when you got a receiver that's pounding down the GM's door asking for more money. I don't know if you heard about that this past week.
Yep.
That doesn't help this situation at all when it comes to, starting the season. I just over the years, Sonny, I've learned that, trying to negotiate during the season is never the way to conduct business. So, now with that said, though, too, his agent's not helping the situation. His agent is the one that kind of antagonized the situation a little more than it probably should have been.
But Cuervo, in case you didn't know, your boy at the wide receiver or the running back position gets his contract signed, man. Big contract, 3-year extension for the Chicago Bears. Did you hear about Cohen?
Actually, I think I did. Yeah, it was like 3 years. I want to say somewhere around 20. Was it 20? I don't remember now.
Yep. So there's that. So that one, to me, and maybe it's me, that one actually worked out for them messing around in the middle of the season. But there it is. So, but that's Drew Rosenhaus. He knows how to do things. If I'm not mistaken, that's his agent, and Rosenhaus is just an expert at doing what he does. Yeah, but you're right. People knocking down ownership's door during the season. That's when owners don't want to hear about it, because if you are in consideration of getting more money, you're not going to prove it in week number 1 in order to get that door to open. After week number 1 for any kind of renegotiations of anything or a contract.
Yeah, I just thought the timing on this was interesting, Sonny, and if Robinson felt that he should get a raise, then that's something. I mean, think about it. I mean, there was so much off time before the season started that there was plenty of opportunity to bring that up and to talk about it. I think the real reason that this all got brought up is because maybe he's frustrated at how the first game went. Maybe he felt like he wasn't throwing the ball enough, or maybe he feels like he should get the credit for the Bears coming back. Now, I get it. He was a big part of it. He made some big catches when they needed to be caught.
Yes.
But I tell you what, don't dismiss what Anthony Miller did either. And Anthony Miller's not asking for a raise today. He just wants to go out there and contribute to the team, it seems like. So, but Allen Robinson, been in the league for a while, feels like, he's earned that, that privilege to say, hey, give me more money after week 1. Yeah. And so, look, and Allen Robinson's a great receiver. I mean, that. He was with your team for a while too. He got drafted by your team.
He's got skills. Yeah, there's no question about that. But at the same time, you can't expect it after week number 1, and you can't expect to go to management and say, I need more respect out on the football field. I'm not getting paid enough. That's the reason why the ball's not coming to me. Nonsense, because that's what that was. In reality, I think he feels like he's destined that. And believe me, this is not the time. I mean, listen, we're talking about the NFL. It's not for long. And you can talk. Right. You can talk your way off a football team in a heartbeat. Just open your mouth, keep it going, and that will be something that you will probably end up regretting later on down the road. Trying to make your football team a better football team. Instead, you're causing off the field problems that have a way of coming and showing, and that But right now, it is. As much as everything is, this one was an easy pick for me. And me, I'll pick against the Bears in a heartbeat. But that defense is good. Daniel Jones is in a lot of trouble today. He might get hurt. I mean, there's no offensive line there. And Jason Garrett, hey, what was it? What was it?
Oh, I'll tell you right now. Okay. I didn't even know that this was a thing. So apparently, there are more rumors going around that Cleveland is shopping Odell Beckham Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just saying that that's totally not true. A source told Adam Schefter. So Browns fans, for any Browns fans out there that want OBJ gone, not going to happen. And if there's any team out there that wants to try and get OBJ from Cleveland, it's not happening. So
interesting. So, you might think that, but if the right thing comes along, it could happen. But because there's no door shut in reality, especially for Odell Beckham. Listen, he had a great game, and I'm going to give him the credit. Hold on. Beep, beep, beep. Let's back up. He played well. He played well. For having a great game and playing well. He played well, and I'll give him the credit for that all day long. We both go 0-1 on the week because we see Cincinnati lose to Cleveland, and now Cleveland Brown fans are all of a sudden thinking they're a playoff football team because they beat the Bengals, who have no defense. It's just sometimes it's kind of crazy. But back to this game. The Chicago Bears, listen, they don't have a snowball chance in hell of losing this game. Now, I just may have put a hex on your football team, but
thank you, honey.
And even in New York, Cuervo, even in New York, because I don't know if they'll have people in the stands, and if they do, I don't know how many. But the simple fact of the matter is that the Chicago Bears are a better football team than the New York Giants. And after week number 1, if they don't get in there and figure out a way to stop that offensive line or get that offensive line ready for what's coming at them, it's going to be a long 3 hours for them. And that's an early game too, so you get to watch that one right away.
I do get to watch that one right away. Unfortunately, it's not on the regular broadcast, but Red Zone will keep me updated on what's going on. And, as much as I want to say that the Bears are going to dominate, Sonny, like I said, that the defense, it kind of let me down as a fan in week 1. So I want to see more from the defense. Like the offense, really, I have zero expectation for the offense. Whatever I get is what I get, and if they score more than 17 points, I'll be happy. But as far as the defense, yeah. I mean, Daniel Jones should be fearing for his life today. But is it actually going to happen based on week 1, Sonny? I don't know. I think he's going to have time in the pocket. I think Saquon Barkley will have holes to run through and gain some ground. I mean, freaking the ageless wonder, Adrian Peterson, for God's sakes, had 90 yards rushing against that Bears defense last week. So, my question, is where was the front 7, in that game last Sunday? It was really
problems. They got the same problems as the Giants do, a little bit, not as extensive, but at the same time, you got to do better. And I don't know. I think my brother might be on the wacky tobacco this morning.
And where was this guy at?
Yeah, where was
this guy at?
Interestingly enough, but here's what I say about that. Where was he? Listen, you're not going to be able to miss him. That guy's going to be all over the football field. Again, my brother might be on a little bit on the wacky tobacco as he picks the New York Giants. I don't know. But that being said, that's the name of the that's his pick. Also, this game right here, as far as the Bears are concerned, if they want to stay in contention, okay, they got to get this victory. Green Bay's already got the victory. They won last week, and they get the Lions. We'll probably talk about that. They might get the win there. To stay ground, to maintain, they got to get this one because Minnesota's also in action too. They lost week number 1. If they get back to 500, this is going to be a very interesting division. But if the Bears are going to stay there, I think they need to come out there. I think they get the win here today, and I'm pretty sure you think they're going to get the win as well. Did Brian Tarvin send in his picks at all?
I haven't seen picks from Tarvin yet.
Right, he's 10. My brother, the boss, DC Dennis Clark. He went 10-6 along with Tarvin. You went 9-7. I went a measly 6-10. That Jets pick did not help me at all. But that still would have meant I was only 7-9, and that's not pretty good either. But I take it away, and I'm already off to a great start. We both took the Bengals on Thursday Night Football. How you feel about that? Game right there as the Cleveland Browns fans think that their team's playoff bound.
Well, no. So now I understand why you were saying pump the brakes. Yes, Brown fans, pump your brakes. Here's the deal.
Those air brakes, baby.
I like the upside of the Cincinnati Bengals. I like what I saw from Burrow in week 1, and
sometimes guys have that factor, and no, it wasn't a choke factor as far as Cincinnati was concerned. It isn't, because they have no defense. I mean, and when you have a rookie quarterback scoring 30 points, by God, you've got to win. By God, you've got to win, and they didn't. so that is 100% on the defense as far as the Bengals taking the loss on Thursday Night Football, without question.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Sonny. Not to cut you off, but I mean, you could have been my fullback, and I could have ran for 150 yards against that defense.
Yep.
So, my God, that defense is atrocious.
Yep.
That run defense is bad. They are bad.
Very bad.
Very bad.
He's close up on bad.
Horrible.
Ugly.
Hold on. How does Barkley say it? Terrible.
Terrible. And I'm still working on. I think I've got a way. It's just when I had it on my phone and I had it on speaker to come out, it goes to the next song immediately. I got to figure out, or the next one, I got to figure out how it plays and stops. And I haven't figured that out. More in the fact that I haven't had time to do it. But that's what it is. So game number one, we're both up on the Bears. I think that one's not necessarily bad. If you're keeping track of what happened last week and you saw what happened to the Giants offensive line, you knew where it was. We'll get Tarvin's pick. The boss is on the New York Giants. We're going to have Bryce come on here a little bit later on. He said he'll join us a little bit later. Always good to see Bryce from Brooklyn in the house, and I got a little present for him when he comes. That being said, let's head on to the other big game that everybody's talking about, the Atlanta Falcons and the I can't believe this, the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, my God, by God, I mean, come on. Atlanta is, I don't know. This football team has been in so much trouble since the Super Bowl, Cuervo, and it doesn't seem like it's going to get very much better at all. And I don't know if that's good, bad, or indifference. That's ownership. That's finally making a decision on who are they going to have to get. And they missed an opportunity this year as far as grabbing up a quarterback to maybe try to back up or get, maybe next year not even having Matt Ryan out on the football field for the Atlanta Falcons. But Atlanta goes up against the America's team of the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys dropped that game. Let's see, where the Rams. They lost against Rams in LA. No fans, and no noise. Dallas Cowboys are, I don't know. We'll figure that out. But the Cowboys in Atlanta. And this game is in Dallas. There are fans, by the way. Just to let everybody know, I do know about that. They say the capacity will be 1/3 full. Okay, and they can get 100,000 in there if they really push it. So you're still thinking of 100,000.
000 has 15 grams.
1,000 people, as far as that's concerned. So when you take a look at this game, Cuervo, what are you looking at as far as where the progression of the Bears are with Mike McCarthy as the new head coach, and then you take a look at Atlanta being Atlanta. That being said, what do you think about this game?
Well, I mean, Atlanta, I think the score really doesn't indicate how dominated they were in that game last Sunday against Seattle. I mean, the final score was 38-25. I think at one point, I want to say that game was like, 31-10 or 31-13 or something like that.
Seattle was on cruise control in the second half of that game.
Yeah, so I mean, Atlanta got a lot of their points from garbage time, and
right.
What I would say, Sonny, is that first of all, Dallas was kind of a letdown too. I mean,
yes.
Dallas should have won that game. Dallas had no business losing to the Rams.
Absolutely.
Like so, now look, I get it. Dallas, they're going to be hurting. We were just talking about leadership on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas just lost theirs for a little while with Van Der Esch.
Van Der Esch. Not and add double whammy up on that. Sean Lee. Sean, I can't seem to keep myself healthy. Lee, for the last 5 years and waste so much on the talk. I'm telling you, he's going to be a great coach. Unfortunately, can't get him out on the football field if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan. But you're right. Van Der Esch is a huge loss. That's not a little loss. That's a huge loss because you want to talk about a guy that came out of nowhere last year, Cuervo. That was Van Der Esch. That guy's a badass. Not having him in the lineup. Listen, you still got to stop Ridley and Julio Jones, and so that means you need to get pressure on the quarterback. Which, by the way, if you take a look at what Atlanta has done and what they can do, more in the fact that if you look at Atlanta's defense, struggles. That was the huge thing. But when you take a look at this, Russell Wilson threw for 322 yards. Now, I'm not saying Dak Prescott is Russell Wilson, but I made the comparison within the first 4 years of what kind of players they are. So maybe not 322 yards and 4 touchdowns, maybe 285 touchdowns and 285 yards and 3 touchdowns, maybe 2, and feed me more Ezekiel Elliott in the end zone somehow. That might be good for him. And then also you look at the Rams. The Rams gave up 422 yards, Cuervo, okay, and they won the football game. It's pathetic. That should have never happened as far as the Bears or the Cowboys are concerned. So when you take a look at the whole thing and what's going on, you're going to have to get a big game from Todd Gurley. He had 16 touches, 57 yards last week against Seattle. We know he can get more. Hopefully, he can get more carries. But really, what they're going to have to figure out is their defense in the Cowboys, okay? Because the Falcons right now, they had 3 receivers with at least 9 catches and 100 yards against Seattle, okay? Matt Ryan, will want to try to do the same thing. So that means that the pathetic Dallas Cowboy defense had better come to play.
Yeah. So and you sing the same song when it comes to the Falcons. The offense, you're not really too worried about when it comes to production. Yes, we could talk about all day whether Matt Ryan is going to be the guy that can get the Falcons back to the Super Bowl and all that stuff. We can talk about that, till we're blue in the face. But this is week 2. What the focus should be on right now is establishing yourself as a team, knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are, which a lot of teams already know that, but and learning from week 1, hey, where do we go wrong? What could we do better? Honestly, Sonny, I think the Falcons are fine offensively. I think they give Matt Ryan good protection. I kind of like what I saw from Todd Gurley. And like you said, I mean, the air attack is phenomenal for them. I mean, Calvin Ridley is ready to –
he's a stud.
Be the guy in Atlanta. And don't be surprised. And I'm going to say it right now, today. Mark it down, Sonny. Don't be surprised. And no one's talking about this yet. So this is not me trying to break anything here or anything like that. But I would not be shocked one bit if the Falcons continue to see what they're seeing from Calvin Ridley. I think Julio Jones is quietly on the trade block.
Well, interestingly enough, thinking about that, as far as what Julio Jones' value could bring to that football team, that's the big thing. And if the Atlanta Falcons are going to have to get rid of a guy like that, you do have Ridley. By the way, Mohamed Sanu, he just signed, by the way, and he was part of that 1-2-3 punch that they had there. He just signed, I think, was it Seattle? I'll find out where he signed. He signed last week. But anyway, that being said, when you take a look at what they have, as far as that's concerned, if you are going to get rid of your guy, and that being Julio Jones, you better make sure that you find that biggest hole that's on your football team, and you better fill it. And you know what I'm talking about as far as whether or not he's going to be 100% playing mentally and fit, throughout the season. I'm talking about Matt Ryan. If you don't do anything to fill that hole, you're in a lot of trouble. If you let him go, you better fill a new hole that will be Matt Ryan, because Matt Ryan will be on a different football team next year as well.
Ooh. trade your franchise quarterback? I don't know, Sonny, but here, yeah. So you're right. Mohamed Sanu did sign with someone, and this, Sonny, is why I, sir, am your co-host. I want you to read this real quick. What team does that say? And what team did I talk about last week?
49ers, exactly. Yep, that's right. This is the reason why he's the MVP of the Couch Potato Sports Show. And that was after the prediction was made. So, it was after. So, huge stuff there. Watch out. So, it is what it is. So Mohamed Sanu, I think he's still a badass. I think he just, sometimes he'll work someplace and sometimes it won't. Hell, Atlanta should have been back in the dealings to get his ass, but they didn't. My brain is telling me the Dallas Cowboys, Cuervo. My brain is telling me this. But the more we keep talking about Atlanta and what they can actually do, and this is week number 2. So I'll take a look at that defense on what I saw in Atlanta last week, which wasn't great. But the difference between Dallas and Atlanta is the defense is better in Atlanta than it is in Dallas. And then if Matt Ryan does find a way to connect with those wide receivers, this could be a blowout. I'm going to say, your prediction, what you did, I'm going to do the same thing. The first play of the Dallas Cowboys football game on the Atlanta Falcons side offensively, they are going downtown. This is a go freaking route because I'm going to tell you right now, you will know exactly what you're going to get with the Dallas Cowboys defense with the go route straight. And listen, you got 2 of the fastest dudes in the NFL, and they can get past that defense. That would be my first, if not first play, it would be at least my first 2. Because this defense will not be able to handle an air attack. And I want to pick the Dallas Cowboys because I'm a Dak Prescott fan. If the Dallas Cowboys are going to be good, it's going to be because of Dak Prescott. Okay, which there's still a lot of talk going on. Everybody wants to get rid of them, and people are just stupid. It's just the way it is. And if you watch that football game, you know it wasn't Dak Prescott's fault. The reason why they lost the football game, but Dallas Cowboy fans. But I'm telling you right now, I'm reluctantly picking the Atlanta Falcons in this football game because of the air attack and because what I think could happen just almost immediately. And you want to shut up the Dallas Cowboy fans? You get down there and you blow them down, hit that go route for a 70-yard touchdown on the first or second play. So I'm going Atlanta in this thing.
I think I'm with you, Sonny. And I know I picked the Cowboys to win this division.
I did too.
But what I saw from week 1
was a bad loss.
It was a bad loss. And I think Dallas will bounce back. I just don't think it's going to be today.
Yeah.
Even though this game is in Dallas, and I really, really feel like Atlanta's still got that, the road woes, or however you want to say it. They're just not a very good road team.
Yeah, but Dallas, you mean Atlanta's not a very good road team? Yeah, that's like a hangover as well. You thought the Super Bowl hangover was bad? The Atlanta defense on the road, that's been a hangover that's been going on for 10, 12 years. They do not. You're right. They do not play well out on the road.
Yep. So I reserve this pick, Sonny, but as of right now, I'm going with the Falcons. I'll think about it and get at the end of the show, maybe I can revisit this one.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I'm going to go Falcons.
I'm right there with you. I think it should be very interesting on where they'll be in that one. So that will and then my brother's on the Dallas Cowboys. It's not a bad pick. I mean, they're home. And in order for this to happen, I think Dak Prescott's got to have a good game. I think we got to see a lot of Elliott. And I don't know. One of the problems with the Dallas Cowboys, and you can't convince me any differently, is Kellen Moore's the offensive coordinator for this football team. And that alone right there tells you why Dallas is bad. Okay, you go out and you hire a Super Bowl. You go out and hire a Super Bowl winning head coach, and you have Kellen frickin' Moore as your offensive coordinator. It's a design for disaster, is what it is, and that's what we're getting. And everybody wants to blame Dak Prescott on that. No, first of all, you got to blame the defense of the Dallas Cowboys. Then you have to blame the fact that the offensive play calling is coming from a guy that's never had success in the NFL and has no business being the offensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, he can be an offensive coordinator someplace else, but this is the Dallas freaking Cowboys. This is quote unquote America's team. You don't have Kellen Moore as your head coach or your offensive coordinator for this football team after you went out and got Mike McCarthy. It's just stupid. So, yeah, interestingly enough, it is the game as far as that is concerned. That will take us into the next game, Cuervo, as Detroit is going to go to Green Bay. And listen, as much as I want to have some mad love for the Detroit Lions, they don't have a chance in this game. And I don't know if Green Bay is going to have fans or not. I'll check that in a quick Google search. But I'll tell you straight out, the Lions are in a lot of trouble, especially if they can't hold on to if they can't hold on to a lead. Never mind get in the lead. I didn't have a lot to say about this one because this could be a complete debacle for the Lions, and the coach is going to be on the hot seat after week number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to happen real quick. As far as that hot seat, it's going to get hot very fast. And,
yeah.
I mean, as gross as it makes me feel and how sour my mouth is going to taste after I say this, I mean, Green Bay played well for week 1.
Yes, they did. No fans in the stands, by the way.
No fans for in Lambeau?
Greenbow, yeah. The first 2 home games as of right now, they are no fans in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't even think that matters. I don't even think that matters.
That's not going to matter.
Yeah. Now, here's what I will say. I've messaged you when it happened. Is that Matthew Stafford finally found a tight end in the end zone? He got Hockenberg in the end zone.
Yes.
They continue to do that. You need to find the high hand, and especially in the red zone. Say whatever you want about it, man. That guy's got skills. And if they get into the end zone, they need to find the guys that can make plays. That's the huge thing in reality. You need to find the guys that make plays. You're in Green Bay. All right, you're already starting behind the 8 ball already. But before you even go in there, and then you have to have Matthew Stafford have a good game, which he is capable of doing that. But in order for him to do that, he's got to get cooperation from everybody in order for that to happen. And listen, Green Bay's defense is not good. Okay, it's not great. It's still the Green Bay defense. The Green Bay defense has been the Achilles heel of this football team for the last 6 years, okay? It hasn't changed. So if they're going to be able to do it, they're going to have to take advantage of it. They're going to have to get some big plays down the field and score when it's important, and that's obviously when you're in the red zone. And right now, as far as the Lions are concerned, if they don't do that, they are kissing the season goodbye, and they just don't have a snowball chance in hell winning this game this week.
No, I don't think so either, Sonny. I fully expect Green Bay to win this game. Like I said, I mean, they put up a 40-burger against the supposed good Vikings defense, and it kind of makes me nervous how good that the Packers look. And we've just been waiting for them to fall on their face, and it's like they're like the annoying little brother that you just want them to go away, and they're just not going away.
I was one. I know that.
Me too. I was too.
I think it's easy. Green Bay, and not a lot to talk about. Matthew Stafford's just going to have to go out and play a great football game, but that comes from cooperation from a lot of other people involved at that football game. That leads us into the next game, the Minnesota Vikings at Indianapolis. We saw Phillip Rivers be Phillip Rivers. I mean, that's what it was. Indianapolis had no business losing last week. They did. Okay, if you got Phillip Rivers, you should not have lost. Who did they play? I mean, I know they lost because it was pathetic. Indianapolis was
The Jaguars, yeah. How'd you forget already?
I have to put on. They beat. Hey, they're 1-0, but God, believe me, it's nothing pretty. But the Vikings. Really, you think about it, they were shell-shocked last week. Aaron Rodgers went off on them like you wouldn't believe. Kirk Cousins, Adam Thielen, they put up big numbers, but guess what? The defensive performance, which is why I picked Minnesota to finish last in this division. There was something about the Minnesota defense that doesn't make me feel good. Now, granted, it is week number 1. Granted, I was at least proven right on week number 1, but there is something that is there. They had no answers to Devontae Adams. Now, when you take a look at this game in reality, as far as that is concerned, Indianapolis, they get right in front of them. There's no really big wide receivers that they're going to go out there. But if Phillip Rivers continues to play really kind of pedestrian, if you think about it, this could be a long day for him in reality, even though they're at home. So Indianapolis right now, they are going to have to go on the back of Phillip Rivers for at least the first half of this season. And if they're going to stay in contention in the AFC South, right now Houston's not looking good. Jacksonville's not looking good. Tennessee did get the win, but they didn't look great. So they have an opportunity, as far as 3 of the 4 teams in that division lose in week number 1, they have an opportunity to try to take a step forward and at least be able to grab up a wild card. But that will take Phillip Rivers returning to all-pro, caliber, which obviously he didn't play last week.
Yeah, and I don't know what it was, Sonny. It was something. It just felt like the Colts were. They just weren't executing very well. They lose. Which running back was it? That guy?
They lost Mack.
Was it Marlon Mack? Yeah, Marlon Mack gets hurt.
Yeah.
So that was such a minor thing, though. I just thought that the Colts did a poor job in the passing game, especially.
Did you know Phillip Rivers threw for 363 yards last week? You wouldn't have known it. They only scored 20 points. You wouldn't have known it.
Yeah, yes, but how much was that in? Just because of the fact that they were trying to, they were so behind because they fell behind in that game.
Yep.
Jacksonville was winning most of that game. I think the Colts scored first, but after that, the Jaguars had to, they took the lead, and then Indy had to click it from there.
And your boy Kirk Cousins didn't have a bad game last week. 259 yards. Adam Thielen had 110 yards receiving.
Mm-hmm.
So they got a big game from Eric Kendricks, but they're always going to get a big game from him on the defensive side of the ball. The rest of it out there, was just mediocre at best. But when you're looking at the Indianapolis Colts, that's almost mediocre at best. So looking at that game, I don't see anything that really stands out on how Indianapolis can win this game, which means I probably should pick them because I'm going the other way. I was thinking about just taking all my picks and at the end of the show reversing them all and see if I could get better than last week. 6 and 10 are really brought down the house. But I think this one's easy. Minnesota, I think, will get the victory here today. But at the same time, I think we're going to need to see more consistency from the defense as far as other games are concerned. If Minnesota is going to be actually being contention for a wild card spot, because right now the cream of the crop right now kind of looks like it's Green Bay, but your Chicago Bears have an opportunity to be 2-0 after week number 2 as well. So there you go.
Oh, yeah, most definitely, Sonny. The only thing I would say about an advantage, so to speak, for the Colts is that they have a former Viking on their defense. And I'm going to be interested to seeing that matchup of T.Y. Hilton against Xavier Rhodes.
Oh, yeah. Xavier Rhodes, badass, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the assignment that that Rhodes is going to get, is covering Thielen.
Right.
I'm sorry, why did I say T.Y. against Xavier Rhodes? They're on the same team. Adam Thielen against Xavier Rhodes.
110 receiving yards last week.
But that's the only angle that I would say that Indianapolis has, because I'm sure Rhodes knows how that offense is operated.
Yep.
And he knows the weak spots of that offense. And so that would be the only angle or the advantage that I would say that Indianapolis does have. So,
right.
And that might be enough, Sonny, to slow down that Vikings offense. So
it might be. Yep. So interestingly enough, my brother, the boss, is on. He's on Minnesota as well. Are you? I'm assuming you may be on that in case there's something I'm missing. What do you think? Did I lose him? Yes, he's timing out. But while we do that, we'll bring on the good old boy himself. There he is, Brian Tarvin. How you doing? Good morning, Brian. Good to see you, man.
Hey, good morning. Happy week 2.
Happy week 2. Hey, by the way, since I got you here, let's roll back while Cuervo is reestablishing his connection. Let me just roll back real quick and get some of your picks. Chicago is at home taking on New York Giants. Giants offensive line, god awful, could get destroyed today.
Yeah, I like the Bears in this one, Sonny. No doubt. I'm about to send you all my picks just in a moment. So you'll
okay.
have them. But, yeah, I like the Bears to win this one. I'm not a big Bears supporter, but I think they'll beat the crappy Giants. Watching them last week, that was pathetic.
It was pathetic. Yeah, that's the best word for it, Tarvin. Yeah. It was pretty pathetic. It was kind of ugly. Atlanta,
but the Bears look bad too, though. The Bears look bad, except for about 5 minutes of that game. So.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
It says laptop died. He's going to go grab his charger. He forgot his charger. So Cuervo will be right back. That being said, let's hop into Atlanta. I went with your Atlanta Falcons, not yours, but you're in Atlanta. I went with your Falcons over the Dallas Cowboys because of the aerial attack, and that the defense of the Dallas Cowboys is not going to be able to handle today.
Yeah, and Atlanta, you watched them last week against Seattle. I mean, they destroyed them offensively. They just couldn't.
Yep.
They just couldn't put it together. I think Dallas is going to have trouble matching the Falcons point for point in this game. I think the Falcons. This is like urgent right now. They can't start 0-2. This team needs a win. They'll have Julio. They'll have Ridley. They'll have Matt Ryan and Gurley. Let's not forget about him in the backfield. I think he's about to get 100 yards. But the Cowboys are good at home. But I think that last game they played, I think it woke them up a little bit. But I still think Atlanta's offense is just too much right now. Now, can they play defense? That's the key.
That's a big one. There he is. I almost lost his head. There he is. That being said, so are you on Atlanta in this one as well?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. So Green Bay and the Lions, I don't think there's a lot to really talk about there in reality, unless Matthew Stafford can get cooperation from everybody, including the defensive side of the ball. They're in a lot of trouble going into Lambeau Field.
Yeah, and I think one thing about Green Bay this year I'm expecting is more inconsistency. Last year they won a lot of games, very coin flip games. They won. They got in the playoffs. They got skull drugged. I think if Detroit's going to win a game, today's the day. I'm not picking it. I'm going to pick Aaron Rodgers. But, again, Aaron Rodgers playing with a chip on his shoulder. He thinks they're trying to get rid of him. They are. He's got to win, and then you can't really do anything when somebody's winning all the time. So,
well, they went 13-3 last year, and if he wins at least 10 or 11 games, if they want to get rid of Aaron Rodgers, listen, I'm not saying that the Green Bay Packers are very smart, but that would be one of the dumbest moves they'd ever do in their franchise history is get rid of a guy that wins the majority of his football games at the height of his career. But you're right, he took that as when they grabbed up that draft pick. that they haven't spent any offensive draft picks, by the way, since he was the first-round draft picks on offense. Yeah, he's got a right to be pissed off. So, and you're Minnesota and Indianapolis. We're not seeing a lot of Phillip Rivers. We're seeing Phillip Rivers in the decline of his career. Maybe a little bit too little, too late as far as maybe an opportunity to make the playoffs or a Super Bowl. They're definitely not going to get it with the Indianapolis Colts. But in this game, interestingly enough, I wanted to go ahead and lead Indianapolis because last week, if you looked at Minnesota's defense, boy, they weren't good. They just weren't good.
Yeah, and look, the thing about quarterbacks like Rivers, usually those games that mean a lot, that they have to win, you don't want to start in a 0-2 hole. I don't care what division you're in. I think they're going to play better. They're at home. I just think quarterbacks like Phillip Rivers, they're good quarterbacks, not great. He can do enough to win a football game. He's a veteran. He's hard to beat. I'm going to take the Colts at home.
Yeah, so Colts at home for that. So you're not going to take the Minnesota Vikings. Cuervo, and the boss, my brother, is on that. So you're going to hang on to the Indianapolis side of it, which will take us to the next game that I have up on my page. I take a look at Buffalo and Miami, and really, to be honest, there's not a lot to talk about it as well as here. A good schedule, really, in reality, when you think about Buffalo, is they started off with the Jets last week, so they get the Miami Dolphins. It's a good way to start off 2-0 to start the 2020 season.
Yeah, and look, watch Miami last week. I'm not impressed. Mm-hmm. New England came out and ran a very conservative offensive game plan, and they got the job done. The defense stole the day, really, but this Buffalo team's one to watch. I know Allen, sometimes he'll throw it 50 yards over somebody's head, but if he ever gets it, this team's good. They can run the ball. They have a good defense. They're good up front. Yeah, they're good up front. Shit, this could be the team that wins the division. So I'm taking the Bills on the road today against Miami. Home field advantage means nothing at this point. So, hey, I'm going with Buffalo.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, when you take a look at that, as far as the schedules are concerned, it really does work out good for the first 4 weeks for Buffalo to be in good shape after 4 weeks of the NFL season. So that's really nice for them. So good to see you there, Tarvin. We're going to have to jump into a break. Maybe by that time we'll get Cuervo back up online so we can get him all set. If you want to hang out, obviously I wish you would hang out as long as you're looking good, by the way. Like those glasses.
Thank you. I might have to get smart.
I was thinking maybe. Well, there's nothing that will make me look smart, but I'll try at least. But I did get your picks on the Facebook page, so if you hang out, great. But we're going to take the quick break. We're going to go in there and take care of a little bit of that business. And when we come back, folks, we're going to take a look at the game that is online, and we'll get the pick from Cuervo on the Buffalo-Miami game. We'll come back, San Francisco and the Jets, when we come back here on the Couch Potato Sports.
Being taken for a ride? Check out Costco Insurance, serving Texans since 1981. Bundle your home, auto, or business insurance to save a ton. Costco Insurance on the corner of Main Street and Rowlett Road, where we make insurance fun. Or check us out on the web at CostcoInsurance.com, where we always have the coffee pot on.
Yeah, but is it fresh?
Are you looking for a new home? Want to know what your house could sell for in today's market? Then you need to contact Realtor Jeremy Morgan with Ray Hubbard Real Estate Group at Keller Williams Rockwall. Whether you're buying, selling, leasing, or investing, he can help you get where you need to be. That's 214-236-2914. Jeremy Morgan with Ray Hubbard Real Estate Group, Keller Williams Rockwall.
Let Buffalo
Creek Doors and Floors help you restore your home to its like-new condition. Need a contractor? Let us be your first stop as well as your last. Want to see what kind of work we do? Check out our Facebook page and you can see the craftsmanship you'll receive and expect from Buffalo Creek Doors and Floors. Give Rodney James a call at 214-536-2607 or check him out on the web at www.buffalocreekdoorsandfloors.com. At Wesson General Contracting Incorporated, we're your one-stop shop for all your general contracting needs. So roofing, gutters, sidings, fence staining, painting, foundation problems, or roof damage are no problems at all. Give us a call at 214-200-5588. That's 214-200-5588. Wesson General Contractors, proud sponsor of the Rowlett Eagles radio broadcast. RowlettFood.com. Do you want to have dinner delivered but you don't want to use Uber Eats? Contact someone locally that can do the same thing at a better price and faster. All you have to do is pick a restaurant on the list at the website, tell us what you'd like to order, then check out. Check out RowlettFoods.com. Give us a call at 972-408-8002 or check us out on the web at RowlettFood.com. Go custom. Get happy. Tell us what you love. We're your local neighborhood window covering experts who truly understand your needs, so we deliver the perfect solution for your home. So check out Budget Blinds of Rowlett, serving Rowlett, Wiley, Saxe, and Garland. Give them a call at 972-722-9300. Budget Blinds of Rowlett, where we listen to our customers' needs. At Nest Egg Wealth Advisors, we have found many people either approaching or currently in retirement failed to truly maximize some of the benefits offered to them, primarily Social Security. It's simply not a benefit that you start receiving at age 62. If you would like a complimentary copy of Social Security Maximization, please give our office a call today at 972-412-6064 or visit us on the web at nesteggadvice.com. Find out how Merchant Masters, DFW, specializing in small business companies, can help you save money and protect your customers' information with our credit card processing and point-of-sale system, including financial savings, lowest possible rates, superior technology, and improved support. Or contact John Beeman, Merchant Masters, DFW, different from all the rest. To the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, along with the MVP. That is Cuervo. Good to see you there, my friend. Always as well. We heard a little bit. I don't know if you saw how much of Brian Tarvin was on for a little bit. We ended up getting his picks. He talked about Chicago, Atlanta, Green Bay, Indianapolis over Minnesota. Interesting pick there. And he also went Buffalo on the game that we haven't heard from you about as far as the Buffalo Bills concerned, taking on Miami down in Miami. I saw some interesting things from Miami last week. Now, granted, it wasn't anything to write home to mama about, but there's sometimes when you take a look at passion and you take a look at guys that can get fired up,
it really sometimes doesn't mean anything if you can't get that tick underneath the W side. Because if you want to talk hard, you want to talk passion, you want to talk drive, those are those guys in Miami. And why is that? Because the personnel on the football team is just not all that good. And when you have a stupid nickname starting quarterback in the NFL and Ryan Magic, I'm telling you right now, Cuervo, you got to start Tusa. Okay, you week number 2, you need to. I don't know if that's what is in line. I haven't looked. But I'm telling you right now, the fact that they don't start him, you're getting the same thing with Ryan Fitzpatrick than you are with Tusa. So you might as well just start him. He is your future. You grabbed him up in the first round for a reason. And yes, it sends a message.
Very true.
That kind of crap that you just put out there last week, Mr. Fitzmagic, is not good enough, and it's not, and we need to do better.
Yeah, I mean, Miami was.
Wow, Jacksonville might even beat them. Oh my God! The Jaguars might even beat them.
The hat's coming out again.
Isn't this a badass hat? If it looked good on me, I'd wear it.
Of course, it looks good on
you. As far as visuals are concerned here, but anyway, but looking at both, you look at both of these teams going into this one. Buffalo just looked really good. That whole thing with Josh Allen, coming alive in front of us last year, and not only that, Cuervo, this guy is really smart. He knows when to use his legs. He believe me, it's last resort. It's not the time when he does it, but when he decides to use his legs, my goodness, this guy can pick a hole and just roll right through it, and it's at least a 6 to 7 yard gain each and every time he runs that football. And when you're talking 3rd and short, and the last resort is a play that can get you 6 yards, that puts him in much more better position than most NFL football teams that are out there.
Oh, most definitely, Sonny. And that's what I think needs to change in Miami is just putting yourself in a better position. I think Tua should start. We said that at the beginning of the season that Tua should start.
Yep.
And but teams continue to make the same mistakes, and they wonder why they continue to be bad football teams.
Yes,
something's got to give, Sonny, and to me, I think that in the best interest of the Miami Dolphins, they need to start Tua. I don't see any benefit at all to starting Ryan Fitzpatrick, to be honest with you. If he was a little bit younger of a veteran, then I might understand it. Or if he's like,
I think what hurts Tua in reality, let me just jump in. I think what hurts him, there was no preseason to see what he can do. I think that hurt Tua more than probably anybody in the NFL. I think that hurt Tua, especially since he's in that battle for the starting quarterback position with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Now, what about his injury, though, Sonny? Do you think there were setbacks?
It could be, or they just don't want to take the risk real early on it.
I mean, if
everybody starting the game, by the way, just to let you know. So I just ran into that. So we're not going to see what we think we should see from Miami. So that's not good. I mean, obviously I think everybody really wants to see Tua out there, just more in the fact that you just don't know what you got until you see it. So, the simple fact of the matter is that the Bills dominated last week, and they dominate this team as well, each and every for the last 3 seasons as well. And the last 3 games, they scored 37, 31, and 42 points against them. So you can't expect Miami to score those numbers. Even if they score 24 points, they're going to win this game in reality. So you think about the Dolphins and where they are. They're the division of football, How they get the big wins against big teams. Like last year, I was the one that predicted the Dolphins to beat the Patriots, and I was correct. But I just don't see it this year. I don't see how they get up and over the hump in reality, because every once in a while you think about New England when Tom Brady was there, he'd lay a crapper every once in a while, and that was that game. That was the crapper game. But I just don't expect the Buffalo Bills, who've completely dominated them at least the last 3 days, to have that dip. Because here's another thing. You think about where they are as far as a progression of a football team, Cuervo, they know where they need to go in order to get that playoff spot. They want to win this division of football. They came damn close last year, and now with the opportunity with no Tom Brady and Cam Newton in there, they have an opportunity to slide in there. But that'll all depend on what Cam Newton does.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of what the Patriots' success could depend on what Cam Newton does. So that's 100% facts right there. But
I'll tell you, Buffalo does need to get their running game going. Moss only had 11 yards on 9 carries last week. All right. So you think about it. He did catch a touchdown pass, but he needs to be that guy that you can establish the run. And and if they do that, Cuervo, they're even going to get that much better, Cuervo. They'll open up the passing game like you couldn't believe if they get some kind of production from the running back position.
For the Jets?
No, for the Buffalo Bills.
For the Bills. Oh, so
yeah, Zach Moss.
Zach Moss, yeah. Between him and I think Singletary still kind of gets some of the carries, but yeah, it seems like Moss has been the guy that kind of took over that starting job, and I mean, we all know how that goes, Sonny. You get, if you have a good running game, it opens everything else up.
Absolutely.
And so, and it works the other way too. If you have no running game, or you have running game and no passing game, and that's all you have to rely on. That's a problem too. But as far as the Bills are concerned, I would have liked to, and I don't remember the numbers on it, and maybe the way I saw the game was different from the reality of it. But I would have liked to seen them go to Stephon Diggs a little bit more. I mean, you traded for the guy, you gave up a pretty decent amount of equity to acquire him, and you really didn't throw the football much. Now, could that also contribute to the fact that he was probably double covered most of the game? It's possible.
Right.
But I think that's when an offensive coordinator has to recognize that and say, all right, well, we'll go in another direction and try to take some attention off of Diggs. And when they don't see it coming, like, you go to Diggs, and that's how you got to work it. You just gotta. It's a game of chess in reality.
Interestingly enough, I'm assuming. Well, before I do that, I mean, you want to take Miami, or are you going to hang out with Buffalo today?
Oh God, are you kidding me?
No, I just asked because every once in a while you'll bring up a subject that I completely miss. Because I'm telling you right now, I got to pick that this week that you think I'm waiting for Byrce. So I'm waiting for Byrce. So that being said, that's the name of the show. Hopefully he'll get in here soon. But interestingly enough, there's a lot of things that you see that sometimes you might want to go ahead and take a stab at that underdog. But Buffalo just far and wide, just a little bit. But you're right. They do need to get Stephon Diggs, and this would be a game for him to do it as well. Get him involved with the offense a little bit more than what he was, before that. So, interestingly enough, before I put this up, oh wait, okay, I'm not sure what that's all about. I have a comment I won't put up. It's not about football, so I'm not going to put it up there. So anyway, that's where we're at. So that's going to take us into the next game as the Rams are going to hit the road. Okay, Cuervo, we saw the Rams get the win last week. Okay, they're going to hit the road and go to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia had no business losing. But guess what? They did. And that's only good for really in reality. That's only good for the Dallas Cowboys if they're going to be in the quote hunt for the NFC East title. So the simple fact of the matter is the Rams played halfway decent last week against the Dallas Cowboys. So with this trip that they're making over to Philadelphia has the situation where, they didn't look too fluid out on the football field. Who'd they lose to, by the way? They lost last week. I know they did.
Who was this?
Washington. They lost to the Washington football team.
The Eagles.
They lost to the Washington football club. So the Eagles go down week number 1 in a game they had no business losing. And there you go, sideways. There he is. And that being said, Philadelphia, I haven't trusted I have never trusted Carson Wentz. Regardless of what he did last year, he had a pretty much injury-free season, but they were already starting about injuries in training camp and everything else, and it showed in reality. You don't lose to the Washington Redskins if you're the Philadelphia Eagles with what is going on in Washington. They're talking about a team that is not completely cohesive. There's no chemistry. The only thing they got going on over there, Cuervo, is that they do have a good head coach in Ron Rivera trying to put it together. And the Eagles had no business losing that football game, but guess what? No business doesn't mean that you're going to win it. They ended up taking the loss last week.
Yeah, and I was actually quite surprised at that one. I thought
I wasn't quite surprised. I was shocked. That was an ugly football game in reality.
Yeah, because here's the thing, and I mentioned it last week. Normally the Eagles week 1. I mean, they're hitting on all cylinders, and they always score big time points in week 1. This year didn't happen, and I don't know if that we can use the whole no preseason excuse all we want, but Green Bay managed to do it. Kansas City Chiefs, I think, scored close to 30, 40 points. So. There wasn't no lack of offense amongst those teams.
Right.
So what's the excuse for other teams like the Eagles that didn't score that many points? So, right. But I mean, I think that what we saw was more than, disappointment from Philadelphia. I think we've seen an improved Washington football team in reality. So,
well, that comes from the top or from the head coach.
Well, yeah, and you mentioned it, Chico Rivera. That I think he's made all the difference, even just after one game. Even after one game, they look like a total different football team than we had last year. Obviously, getting the win also helps that. But when you look at where the Eagles are and what's going on, Doug Peterson right now, the pressure of the off-field situation with him and his cancer, believe it or not, that usually pulls teams together. Cuervo, we didn't get that. We didn't see him at all. Cooper Kupp last week also only had 4 catches, but only on 5 targets last week. So if they get Cooper Kupp involved with the offense a little bit more as far as the Rams are concerned, that could be a long day for Philly's defense. So you take away from that, I don't know what we're going to get from Todd Gurley. I don't know if I believe in him or not, but that is going to be huge. But last week it was Chase Young. It was all over Carson Wentz. So when you look at this game, as far as the Rams, who do you got that might be all over him? Aaron Donald might just have him for lunch, for God's sake. I think Aaron Donald is going to put a hurting on the Philadelphia offense. And he alone might just stop that whole thing. I am so on the Rams, and I don't want to pick them, but I didn't see enough in week number 1 in order for me to go ahead and pull the trigger. And that, again, as far as the loss for Philadelphia is concerned, if Dallas somehow does come back and beat Atlanta this week, that will put
a lot of things in perspective for the Dallas Cowboys as far as their future is concerned within the division. But the Eagles can really not afford to lose this football game, and I think they're gonna. I think they are. I think they're gonna lose.
Well, I don't know. So this one's a tough one for me actually because there were some good things I saw from the Rams, and there were some good things, even though they lost. There were some things that I saw from the Eagles that I think, you know what, I think they're, despite all the offensive, losses that they had, I think they still have the team to compete with Dallas for the division. I think what went wrong though with the Eagles last week, Sonny, if you really paid attention, and I'm not saying you didn't, but if you really take a close look at that game, Zach Ertz was off his game, and that's why they went to Dallas Goedert so much in that week 1 against Washington. I don't know what it was, but I mean,
he had 101 yards last week.
Well, Goddard did, yeah.
Yeah.
Goddard had a phenomenal game, and I had him on my bench. Can't believe I benched him.
Did he get in the end zone?
He did.
That does hurt.
Yeah, it was hurt. It was hurting me inside to see all those points just sit on the bench, and thanks to that, I'm starting off 0-1 this year, Sonny. But all I can do is not make excuses and bounce back and try to get a win in week 2 of fantasy. So, I think that was the biggest thing was like, Zach, he dropped a couple of passes.
Yes.
His routes were a little off. And
he looked sluggish, Cuervo. He did. He looked sluggish. No, it's not the fact I didn't pay attention. He was just a non-factor to where I couldn't pay it. Where I could pay attention to him.
Right. And
normally this guy's going to catch around 7 to 8 balls and you have around 75 to 80 yards in production, if not more. But like you said, Goddard picked that slack up. But one of the things when I looked at that game, as far as what is going to happen here, now Los Angeles, they took on the Dallas Cowboys, which they should have blown them out of the water. That defense on Dallas in week number 1 against they should have routed them, and they didn't. So that's my only worry about picking the Rams in reality. But Philadelphia gave up 27 points. So, and 422 yards of offense from Los Angeles. And but the bad thing, this was against Dak Prescott. Okay, they gave up a lot of yards too. That being the Rams, they gave up 380 yards. And I think Carson Wentz has the capability of doing it. The problem is that we haven't seen him actually do it. He's got the skill set, but we haven't seen it. And then Lord forbid he takes a big hit. Aaron Donald's going to beat this guy up. Last week in another thing, just looking at it, the Rams, 153 yards rushing the football. Okay,
without Gurley.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I was going. That was not with Gurley. So it's interestingly enough, it should be interesting to see how that goes. And by the way, as far as the rushing yards, Malcolm Brown had 79 of those. So they are spreading the ball around with the running game. So you never know who was going to get the ball. So this should be one of the better games as far as strategy on how you're going to win the game is going to come into play here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's what we're going to have to look out and see. I just want to see how the Eagles adjust offensively. Do they go back to Ertz and try to get him going? Or do they stick with the hot hand at tight end, which is Dallas Goedert, and try to establish that run game? If I'm the Eagles, Sonny, you can't just ignore arguably your best receiver on the team. So I think they're going to try to get Ertz going. I think Ertz will bounce back. I think Ertz will have a big day. Because I think the Rams are a little weak at safety, so
Right.
I think that's advantage Eagles. It's going to be a rough day for them on the outside with either Deshaun Jackson or I don't know if Alshon Jeffrey. I don't remember seeing him last week, and so I don't know if he was out there at receiver for them. But I do know that Deshaun was playing,
Right.
and they don't have Nelson Aguilar anymore, which I disagree with that move, but they decided to let him go. I think the Eagles win this game, Sonny. I mean, the Eagles are very tough to beat at home.
Absolutely.
And I think the Eagles find a way to get Ertz back in rhythm and get him involved in the offense.
I think you're right. It should be so you're going to go Philly. I can see those scenarios playing out is what I'm basically saying. But I'm going to tell. This one might steal the show this week. I think it should be interesting. I think it'll be back and forth. And here's the thing: Jared Goff actually looked really good, which was the question mark in reality when you looked at this week or this season. How will Jared Goff bounce back from last week? Because we did not see necessarily the guy that was throwing for 350 to 400 yards a game. We saw come to Jesus in reality with Jared Goff last season.
Yeah. And so I mean, I'd like to see what Goff does.
Yep.
As he bounces back from the lackluster season he had last year. So you're talking about two highly paid quarterbacks. I mean, both of these guys have gotten paid.
Big time. So yeah, lots of money being thrown around. So interesting. I want to say this one. This one, I hope we get a lot of this one on Red Zone. Matter of fact, I think I get this one locally. I might even just turn on a local TV and watch.
I think I do too.
That I might have it going on both because I think that one has the potential of being an interesting game back and forth. So that'll lead us into our next game, and I'm skipping around a little bit because I want to talk about the Tampa Bay Carolina game. Tampa Bay is at home. They're being taken on the Carolina Panthers. Now, listen, Sonny, he's a big Teddy Bridgewater fan.
Yes.
He got some mad love for Teddy.
Yes,
he played well week number one. That defense is what killed him. I was just watching this. I was like, oh my God, really? Can the Panthers play defense? No, they can't play defense, and that's too bad. Because here's the thing: when you looked at that game last week, Cuervo, I know I was on Carolina. I think you were on Carolina as well. I think, and they lost the game to the Raiders. Yeah, they lost the game to the Raiders, and we were both on them. But when you saw the game and you saw it was right in front of your face, it was almost you couldn't ignore it, and you almost seen it coming, which is one of the hard things when you're watching a football game, when you see your team in the lead and you see them start to give it up, sort of like the Lions, kind of like that thing, and you saw that coming here as well, and the as far as Carolina is concerned, I don't think that they have any problems on the offense. Well, it's nothing to really, they're pretty good offensively. With Bridgewater, he is smart. They scored 30 points, and if Teddy Bridgewater gives you 30 points, your defense has to win the football game for you. It is just as simple as that. And it was from the freaking Raiders, by the way, which, by the way, that rookie wide receiver, I told everybody to watch out for that guy. That guy's got some mad skills, and if Derek Carr decides to get a relationship with him, watch out. That's exactly what happened. Even though he went out with an injury, he came back and had a very good game for the rest of it. But Carolina had no business losing that game after they scored 30 points. And that's too bad for Teddy Bridgewater, because that's one of the things when you are the leader of the team, that's always going to fall back on you.
Yeah, it is, and they brought Bridgewater in for for that reason, is to
Yeah,
be the lead. You know,
maintain an offense, not completely, go crazy, but to get in there, maintain your football team and get a win. Solid, system guy if you have that. I think just a couple extra skills along with that. And but they go up against Tampa Bay, who lost the game last week. And here's one thing, and I don't care. I'm not even going back to the New England game. Tom Brady being pissed off that they lost week number 1, that can't be good for Carolina, and they're on the road.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see that, and then obviously the bigger story is going to be about Tom Brady lost the game, and the sky is falling, and
everybody
his first game as a Buck.
And if everybody thinks the sky is falling and Tom Brady can't play quarterback anymore, you pay attention today. I mean, really, you need to pay attention today because and let's just say from some kind of crazy thing, Tom Brady loses this week. I feel sorry for whoever the hell they're going to play next week, and I don't know who it is. I feel really sorry for him because Tom Brady hasn't won 2 games in a row in 12 years. So that could be very bad. But as much as I love me, me, and listen, Christian McCaffrey is a badass. He only had 97 yards rushing, so they need to get him more involved with the game, which means they need to open up some holes, which they didn't, and that was clear cut because they were using him more in the passing game. If you saw, and Robbie Anderson, 114 yards. This guy comes out of nowhere in reality and grabs up that many yards. Listen, Teddy Bridgewater is developing relationships, and as soon as he figures it out, the Carolina Panthers are going to be a tough team to beat, but I just don't think they're going to be able to get over the hump today in reality as far as that is concerned.
Yeah, I think Brady comes back and it's with a vengeance. Like I said, I mean, it's been 12 years, you said? I mean, we don't know for sure, but
yeah, I think that's the number. They haven't lost 2 games in a row in forever. And if it was maybe recent, but before that, it was a long time before that. So, in other words, it's happened maybe twice in 12 years. This guy just doesn't lose too many football games. And at home, and listen, I don't know how comfortable he feels at home, but the Bucs are at home. I don't know if they're going to have fans in the stands. I'll look that up as we're talking. But
yes, there probably will be.
I don't want to face a pissed off Tom Brady, regardless what happens.
I think there is going to be a crowd, Sonny, because I've been reading and I've overheard that the state of Florida has opened up again to public facilities and stuff like that. So,
hey, no, here it is. Well, hold on. That's not the date. We're in the 20th, so I'll see if I can find some more information about that. For some reason not getting up to. Here we go. I'll put the past week and see what we can get with that. Will Tom Brady see fans in the stands for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and his home debut? Let's see.
Pretty sure the answer is yes.
Well, I got to read a little bit more. It's not right up on top of it. I hate that. I just want the answer to my damn question. Come on, guys. But at the same time, if that is, so they get a little fan things going on with them. Here it is. All right, I got it. So this was 2 days ago. As far as who's fans that are going to be in the stands. Come on, load. All right. Cleveland Browns, they obviously had fans in the stand. Oh, see, now this is crap. Okay, the Miami Dolphins are allowing fans. The Patriots are not going to have fans. Are the Patriots at home? New England? I thought they were on the road. Yeah, they're on the road. I'm not sure. Oh, this is old. So, but let me just get down to.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding, Sonny. Is it a state thing or is it a team decision to allow fans, like at the franchise?
It's a team decision based upon what the rules are set down by the state. So just just an example. I forgot what team it was, but they're just not going to have anybody in the stands. And the Bucks, the first 2 home games, Sunday, October 4th, and September 2nd. Wait, what is the date? It's the 20th, and they're at home.
I wonder if you're reading an old article or something.
Well, Fans in the Sands. I mean, interesting. Yeah, I must be looking at something old. Based on kind of how we have determined that it's not yet. Okay, so I'm probably on something really, really old. So, but we'll find out. But I don't think that even matters. I'm not going to bet against Tom Brady on the second game. After he loses week number 1, I could care less if they're playing Seattle. I could care less if they're playing Kansas City. I'd be on Tampa Bay just for that reason, because that guy just doesn't lose too many times, two teams in a row. Not only that, the personnel is better. I mean, we can sit here and lie about it, but
right.
It's state. Here it is, and this is Gordon. Josie, thank you very much. It says it is state ran, so we appreciate that.
Hi, Mama.
So it'll be based upon the same. Do you know who Josie is?
I definitely do.
Okay,
Sonny Clark. She definitely gave birth to me. Hi, Mama.
Oh, I didn't know.
That's Mama Cuervo.
I got Cuervo in my head, not the real last name. So I'm like, I'm looking for Mrs. Cuervo. Or Miss Cuervo, whatever the case may be. I didn't say it. Hi, good to see you. So good to see Mom there. So it is, but we need to get her on and give us some information that we don't get. We should put her to work.
Right.
And get it out there. But anyway, I don't know. Tampa Bay, Carolina. And again, I love me some Teddy Bridgewater, but I don't think he's going to be able to get the victory here today. And listen, I'm going to tell you right now, my heart is with Carolina Panthers because I am that Teddy Bridgewater guy. I want to see success with the guy because that injury just rocked his career in reality a couple of years back when it was a non-injury walking from one freaking field to another. It just killed me because I thought Minnesota had that. I thought they had the goods to make it to the Super Bowl. Maybe not that year, but maybe the year after if they built up on that. Things up on there. So I want to see him do well, but I don't think he's going to have it. What do you think about today?
I like Tampa Bay, Sonny. I think Brady, first home game as a Buccaneer. There's going to be a lot of excitement on that side of the field. Carolina, I think they let themselves down, losing to the Raiders. That's a game that I know, and they know, and everybody knows that they should not have lost.
Yes.
And it happened. So, and we always talk about this. You lose a game that in your heart you should have won.
Yes.
How do you bounce back from it? Teddy Bridgewater as the full-time, no doubt starting quarterback for this football team. How does he rally his guys together? And don't lean on Christian McCaffrey, like a phenomenal player.
Yeah.
But you were brought in to be the quarterback of this team, lead this team back to the postseason. Now let's see.
He's a weapon. He's a weapon that they got to use. Not thoroughly lean on.
McCaffrey, yes. McCaffrey, yeah. But as far as Bridgewater is concerned, that is who needs to be the leader. He's the guy that should have the C patch on his jersey. So what is he going to do to get these guys back and rally them together and have a bounce back game?
Yep.
Now, obviously, that test is going to be against who we consider the GOAT, but and you're on the road. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
So now, if Carolina can keep it close, or even find a way to win the game, then I think the Panthers are going to go places. But if they get the doors blown off of them, then I'd be worried if I was a Panthers fan.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. And if that happens, week number 3 will be all important for Teddy Bridgewater and how they take that and move on from it. See, a lot of times in the NFL, you look at guys and you look at football teams that lose football games that they have no business losing. It has to be about being able to put it behind you and move forward. And some teams just fall into that drought that they just can't get out of, for 2 or 3 games because it has that much of that hangover effect, So, and there's a lot of teams last week that fall into that category. I think as you look at the games last week, Cuervo, teams that had no business losing, I think last week was Indianapolis. I don't think they should have lost to Jacksonville whatsoever. That one was huge. Philadelphia, as far as them losing, I don't think they should have lost either. How will they bounce? Yeah. And another one, San Francisco. I mean, listen, you're at home. You should be able to beat the Arizona Cardinals and leave. They're nothing to write home to mama about. I'm sorry, they're just not. They got some talent and they got some, but I don't think they should.
By the way, Sonny, I knew I should have pulled the trigger. Something kept telling me Arizona was going to find a way to win that game. And that's why I said, look, I'm going to take the Niners, but don't be surprised if Arizona keeps this game close.
Yep.
And not only did they keep it close, but they wind up beating the 49ers at home. So, hey, I mean, like you said, and I heard this at the beginning of the show, it's like we were just saying, everyone has a price, okay? Mm-hmm. And I understand why Houston made the trade. They got a lot back.
Oh yeah,
in return for DeAndre Hopkins.
But damn,
I mean, top 3. That dude's top 2, top 3 receiver in the league. But you know what? Here's the thing, though. Why they traded him? It's not because of the offer. I mean, we all know that,
right?
I think Bill O'Brien should have swallowed his pride a little bit. Should have. Well, that's what it was. You're talking a big time clash.
Big time.
You don't just trade off a top 3 receiver like that. You find a way to work your differences out, right? As men and as business. I don't want to say business partners, but yeah, business partners.
Co-work. Deal with that every single day. Listen, I don't have to watch movies to understand that there's a lot of conflict between the upper echelon of the military and the guys that actually, do what is told of them. And I'm sure there's a lot of conflict in that. That's like you just said, that's something that's got to be worked out between men. And sometimes, and I hate to even steal the term of The Rock, but sometimes you got to know your role and shut your mouth and just do what you're supposed to do, and take it for what it is. And in Houston, but believe me, this is about him not getting the ball, Cuervo. That's all this is in reality. And it got to a point, it got to a boiling point. Listen, you don't tell Deshaun Watson to get you the ball. Deshaun Watson will get you the ball when he gets it to you. He is and that's what else it is. You also got to know your role and shut your mouth. Even though you are a superstar, Deshaun Watson is the leader of that football team. Don't get into a clash with that guy. What's Bill O'Brien going to do? Is he going to get rid of Deshaun Watson or is he going to get rid of the other guy? Well, let's be honest. They just got done paying the guy close to $35 million a year. Okay, you know who they're going to hang out with because guess what? It's easier to find a franchise wide receiver than it is a franchise quarterback in the NFL, and every team in the NFL know it.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I mean, the receivers are a dime a dozen. So, and I know 9 out of 10 are not as talented as a DeAndre Hopkins. But eventually you're going to find someone just as good as a DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, receivers come and go in this league, man. Like the shelf life is a lot.
5 years.
Yeah. It's a lot smaller than
running back is 3 years. Wide receivers is 5.
Yeah.
Now, if they're a franchise guy, that's 7. But at the same time, looking at like a team like Houston, you're talking about potential of where they are right now.
Mm-hmm.
And, say whatever you want about it. They've got to figure out what they're going to do for the future. Now, by the way, just to let you know, Johnson had a great game running, by the way, last week. But guess what?
Surprisingly.
Yeah, surprisingly. But the hole that was open that was so big was with the wide receiver. So it's almost, how many football teams have 2 or 3 running backs on their football and you couldn't go get one of those guys? Instead, you give up that tells you where that relationship was. You're right.
Yeah, and I think that I think Houston probably could have gotten a little bit more if they had pushed for it, if people didn't already know that there was some conflict between O'Brien and DeAndre Hopkins. And, just like this Julio thing that I mentioned earlier, if all of a sudden you start hearing that Julio's on the trade block, and there's no history of contract disputes or leadership questioning like you had in Houston with DeAndre Hopkins, because that's what it is. And I'm not going to even try to deny it. When you talked about the military just now, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes, leadership, it gets questioned.
Mm-hmm.
What's the thought process behind certain decisions that are being made? And it works the same way with sports franchises, not just the NFL. I'm sure in Major League Baseball it happens, in the NHL it happens.
Yep.
So, you'll always, there will always be questions, and people will always challenge the upper echelon of leadership just to kind of understand what their thought process is. Now, that being said, leadership, a lot of times, they don't owe you explanations.
Yeah.
At least in the military, you don't.
Absolutely.
And so in the NFL or in this situation, I don't think DeAndre Hopkins was really owed anything.
Exactly.
He should, like you said, know your role, shut your mouth.
Do your job.
And I don't. And to be honest with you, Sonny, you said it was about him not getting the ball. How is it about that when this guy's putting up some ridiculous numbers year in and year out? So if he really thought that he wasn't getting the ball enough,
I should have completed the sentence on that. Vital times, because I'll tell you, there are some times where you think, at least when you're watching a football game, Cuervo, you in your mind are thinking they're going to go to that guy. They're going to go to the star. They're going to go to that. The problem with that is he had another guy on the other side for the last 4 years as well. So and his name is just slipping.
Will Fuller?
Yeah, Fuller. And then Johnson. Hold on. Was his name Johnson? Another wide receiver in a couple of years before that. So I think his name was Johnson. I can't remember his first name. But he wasn't always that guy. He wasn't always the main focus as far as the wide receiver is concerned. And I think that could also be, ego. Listen, ego will get you. Ego will get you out of a job so quick in the NFL, especially if your ego causes problems off of the football field, never mind on. But it's all about how you can get along with the people that you're going to work with. And listen, Bill O'Brien should have been fired, after he dropped that game in Kansas City last year. I'm sorry. I would have came down from that elevator and said, your office is right over there. We got some extra boxes right over here. Why don't you just go ahead and clear out your office? That's exactly what I would. And they put this guy at the GM spot. That just goes to show what the hell do I know. But all I know is that the interesting thing as far as Houston is concerned, when you lose your guy, he would have been the number one focus in reality, Cuervo, this year at the wide receiver position if he would have shut his mouth. And listen, Houston's hole is big at the wide receiver position right now, and it's gaping. It's gaping. And listen, you got a running game. You got Johnson playing pretty well, better than what I thought I was going to see from him. And hopefully he keeps up with that, because I like David Johnson in reality, because before he started getting hurt, that guy was a monster. And that's what they really need there. But at what cost?
Yeah, very true. Very true. Well, I mean, I think we just subconsciously like roll 2 games in at the same
I
time?
think we did, but so what we're going to do?
That's totally cool with me.
But they were also. But back to where we were at. The next game. So we're all on Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
all right.
I like Tampa Bay.
Yep, Tampa Bay. Boy,
Arizona.
I love this show.
Arizona?
I love this. We could end up on the other side of the field there. It's amazing. All right, so back to the games that are in hand. San Francisco, New York. No, mark that. I'm saving that one. Denver Broncos. Your girls, Denver Broncos.
Yes.
They hit the road. They're going to be taking on Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh, listen, I forgot who they played last week, but they ate them up. Who was it?
The Giants.
Yeah,
the Giants.
Listen,
yeah.
They ate Daniel Jones up for lunch. It was pathetic. And my brother dinged me. He said, "Are you watching this?" I said, "No." I went back and I saw. If you want to call them highlights, it wasn't from the Giants side. That's for damn sure. They had Daniel Jones for lunch, and right now, you look at the Denver Broncos. I don't think they have weakness at the quarterback position. I don't think they even have weakness at the wide. Yeah, maybe a little bit. The running back the offensive line has got to improve, because if you don't, you're not going to see. If Locke doesn't get time to throw the football, or at least set up the pass with the run, it's going to be a long season for Denver. And listen, Locke didn't play great last week, but they were in the position to win that football game at points of that in that. So looking at the potential of what he is, but this is a total different monster when you have the Pittsburgh Steelers defense just gouging down on you and about ready to rip your Adam's apple out, which is pretty much what's going to happen here today. As much as I want to pick the Denver Broncos, this might get real ugly.
I don't know if I don't know that it'll get ugly, Sonny, but I think that what I saw. Well, first of all, I think Tennessee left 10 points on the field.
Yes,
in that game, 3.
Yeah.
Which we're watching this game last Monday night.
Of course,
my lady Bronco and I were watching this game, and I've never been so shocked because this was the same kicker kicking for the New England Patriots for however many years, right? And that guy seldomly, very, very rarely missed a field goal. This dude missed 3 of them in one game.
Isn't that stupid?
And an extra point.
Yeah.
10 points he left on the field.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 3 field goals and the 1 extra point.
Yes.
So 4 kicks. So I was like, holy cow. Okay, maybe it's Cody Parkey disguised as the Guzkowski.
That was bad. You're going to pay for that one, by the way, just so that you know you didn't. Yeah, in my wisdom here, I'm going to tell you're going to pay for that one, probably.
Right.
If the knowledge is there, you should pay for that one. But it is what it is. But man, oh man, you think about what happened as far as Denver was concerned. I really thought they would be able to come out and get the victory, and I wanted to see them win. So that was more of a want, and it had nothing to do with your lady. I wanted to be right, because I really did think that they were going to be able to do something, and obviously I was a little bit wrong in that situation. But this week, I just look at what the Steelers did last week. Okay, think about this, Cuervo. They had a great game, and Ben Roethlisberger threw for only 229 yards. Okay, and they get Benny Snell. I mean, you thought just running his mind, and then Juju. Listen, Juju Smith-Schuster. Only 69 yards, and Lord forbid if they decide that they're going to start hooking up for you, bro.
Did he score? Right, he scored though too, right?
He scored once. Yes, he got it in his zone once. Yeah, But that defense, I'm going to tell you right now, I think is huge. Vince Williams, T.J. Watt, I love these guys. I mean, all around defensively, I think they're the better team out there. So as far as what Denver's got to deal with, they just got to be able to put it all on the same page because unfortunately it just didn't come together on the same page last week.
Yeah, and I mean, I think what I noticed was Locke's accuracy was questionable at times.
Yes,
and because he threw it behind his receiver a couple times,
yes.
he overthrew a couple times, which made someone in this house very frustrated. and so I want to see if that improves. I want to see what has he done to work on that to fix that between last Monday and today.
Absolutely.
So that's got to get better.
So, by the way, just rightfully so. You think about that as far as that is concerned. So, but the last time, believe it or not, Cuervo, the Broncos have won the last time. The 2 times before they met, the Broncos beat this team, 2016, 2018. But I mean, it's totally different. I mean, but when you think about where teams are, maybe we were quick to anoint, because fans do this, and I'm an occasional fan, to see the potential and give them more than what they really are. And I'll put it out there. I might have thought Drew Lock was a little bit better than what he really is or where he should be right now, Cuervo. That's probably the better way of saying it, because when you look at what the Steelers can do offensively, I don't think anybody really expected them to be that good with Big Ben coming back. Slow start, maybe 175 yards, maybe 2 touchdowns, and let the running game on. No. He actually was a lot better than that. On the other side, I kind of expected better numbers from Drew Lock. Maybe it's because I wanted them to win. I wanted to see them do well, and we just didn't see it. And and they take advantage, like you said, 10 points out on the football field. So that's a huge thing. And listen, in the NFL, not for long. And listen, that'll be not for long, very long if that keeps that. But I don't see how, unfortunately, for any Bronco fan to see any victory out of here today.
I agree. I think I agree with you, Sonny.
Did you put on extra padding for all the beatings that you're going to take for picking the Pittsburgh Steelers here today?
I don't think she knows yet, but she's going to find out.
You just won't say it until you get there. So this one was pretty easy. And listen, I'll tell you this, Cuervo. Think about this. If Drew Lock has a good game against the Steelers today, and I don't even necessarily say they got to win, but if he has a good game, he puts and has good production out on the football field, you got to look pretty good for the future games for them. So
and I think the future is bright for him because, again, 5-year starter at Missouri. You're talking, that's not a cupcake school, and they don't play against cupcake opponents. I think the last 2 or 3 years that he was at Missouri was when they moved to the SEC.
Right.
So, he was playing against top-notch competition over there.
Yep.
And so, it'll be fun. We're deflating a mattress over here.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
We're Tom Bradying this air mattress over here. So little deflation going on.
Yeah, I got it. So
Brady. Well, we're braiding the mattress.
Yeah.
Yeah. She gets it now.
Yeah. Put it together. All right, so we're both up on Pittsburgh today. My brother is on Pittsburgh. Tarvin, let me see. I think he's on Pittsburgh. I don't think he's that dumb. Yep, so he's on Pittsburgh as well. So that's going to take us to the other game. I think we got an interesting game here. And yes, all right, I'm going to say it. I can be an idiot. I know how to be an idiot. I'm really good at being an idiot. Okay, so let's just verify that Sonny Clark is an idiot. Okay, up front and personal. Okay, but the San Francisco 49ers, after that loss, against Arizona, they came out beat up. Cuervo, beat up. Richard Sherman, gone. Deebo Samuel, gone. Short term at least. Okay, and Kittle, uncertain for the game. I think he took a shot to the head. All right, so those are just three of the many injuries that San Francisco suffered with the Arizona Cardinals.
Yep.
Okay. This game right here has the smell. And I know it sounds incredibly stupid because, the Jets did not play well. All right. I am not completely oblivious to the fact that they did not play well. But I will tell you right now, K'Wan Williams right now, he's normally the nickel corner. Now he's going to have to go on the outside, okay? I don't know how well that move goes. The bad thing, good, bad, whatever, it depends. The old wonderful, what did they call it? The vote of confidence comes for
yes.
Adam Gase, and usually teams play really well after the vote of confidence. But really, boy, week number one, you get the vote of confidence. That is not good. As far as that's concerned. Got Cuervo with the injuries that happened in that game, and the fact that the Jets have nothing to lose. Hey, they vote of confidence. I wish that we had Bryce in Brooklyn here. I just lost Cuervo. But there he is. Oh, yeah, there he is. But I am half tempted to take the Jets at home. I know that sounds incredibly insane, Cuervo, because the 49ers should be all over him. But
oh my God,
I'm gonna go the 49ers. I'm gonna use my brain and pick the game. But I'm gonna tell you right now, it would not shock me one bit if the Jets figured out how to beat them at home. I don't know. I don't. With all those injuries, man, they look like a mash unit.
Sonny, I'm starting to wonder. I'm thinking. I'm starting to think, and I don't want to assume. You, sir.
Do I need a drug test?
No. You, sir, have a huge man crush on Sam Darnold.
I do.
Huge.
I don't know. I don't even know why. I don't even know why I do. Okay, I do know why. I'll tell you the reason why. Sam Darnold, I saw this guy up close and personal as well. I don't get an opportunity to see a lot of guys, within my runnings around. I ran in front of Sam Darnold. I just thought this guy had a cannon. I thought this guy, if he got on the right football team, maybe that's the thing, he could be really successful. But and I do. I don't know why I do. I don't know why Sam Darnold, whenever I think about good quarterbacks, I think he should be up there. Should be. I said should. I didn't say is. Should be up there. This goes back to a couple of quarterbacks that are on bad football teams. What was the guy down in Miami last year? It came from Arizona and went over there.
Rosen.
Yeah, thank you, Rosen. I thought that guy should have been a stud. I mean, the bad thing about him is he got on two bad football. So, by the way, where is Josh Rosen? By the way, is he?
I
have to look that up. But
didn't he go to the? Did he go to the Giants? I think he might have went to the Giants.
Josh, I will look it up. QB. Here we go. Josh, he's nowhere, Cuervo.
Oh, he's so he's just sitting on his couch. He's being a couch potato.
Can you imagine? Remember all the pumping up that Josh Rosen was getting, and this guy is sitting at home.
Yeah, and it happens that fast in a period of what? I think this would have been his third season in the league.
Third season. I cannot believe this guy is not on a football team. Cuervo, he's not. And I just wanted to check.
I'm shocked too. I'm shocked.
Complete free agent right now. And, and I don't know if he's hurt. That part I don't know. But even if he was, him not being on a football squad, that actually shocks me. And but hey, by the way, Cuervo, you know how when you come on air, I got a wonderful introduction for you all. Guess what? I got another one. Can you dig it, sucker?
Sonny, I didn't hear everything you said. Uh-oh. You got somebody.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Can you dig it, sucker? Whenever I thought I was going to put this together, Brian, this
wow, nice.
Right to me. Here he is. Look at that smile. This is a golden smile right here. He's probably got women lined up around the corner of his house over in Brooklyn, and he's with ice water. Good to see you, my friend. How you doing, man?
Man, listen, that's the best intro I've ever gotten anywhere I've gone.
Hey,
can't beat that.
Booker
T would be proud. Booker would be proud.
Mad respect for it. So that, and when I
That's
thought
a great job, Sonny,
on the entrance, that was the one that boom. Now,
I hope Booker T sees that one day.
Game where I thought I was going to hear a phrase, so I'm just going to beep, beep. I'm going to back this one up here a little bit, all right, and go back to what I was talking about. If you saw what happened last week to the San Francisco 49ers, and I'm talking about guys going down right and left. I mean, you want to talk about a mash unit. That's what we saw in San Francisco. So much so that when I was looking at this game, and I already know this, I'm leaning that I'm almost tempted to take the Jets, and those injuries that we're talking about vital guys. We're not just talking about guys that are second and third. No, we're talking about guys that make a difference for your football team week in and week out, and that's what I saw in that game. As far as who and what is going to end up happening. So when you think Deebo Samuel, gone. Richard Sherman, gone. George Kittle, is he going to play? I mean, we're talking about some guys that make big impacts in game, and they couldn't stop Kyler Murray. Listen, they couldn't stop Kyler Murray, for God's sake. Now, granted, he's a running quarterback. We don't get that with oh crap, I forgot his name real quick. But
Sam Darnold.
Yeah, Sam Darnold. But normally, sometimes you get a good game after a head coach gets that wonderful vote of confidence from the Jets CEO. So I'm leaning to take the Jets this week. I really am. I got some mad lean. What do you think about the Jets taking on San Francisco? San Francisco on the road.
Sonny, 12:30. In the afternoon on Sunday.
It's
too early for you to be doing drugs. It's
early. No.
It's too early. Don't ask. You can't ask. You can't focus on who's out for the 49ers. I understand that. We got to ask who's actually playing for the Jets.
Yes. My brain as far as my pick was concerned, my brain did overtake my impulse, buy attitude of hearing great news if you're a Jet fan. And it is. And Cuervo said it best, which I lost him. He'll be back here in a moment. I got me some mad love for what reason I don't know for Sam Darnold. Maybe it's because I think he should be on a different football team because the Jets are just not if you're going to work up a good skill set, you don't want to be a New York Jet, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think right now when you look at the Jets, who is their impact player on defense?
Well, they lost. They lost him. He's over in Seattle. I mean, you lose when you lose Adam, when you lose that guy. It just takes, and that's the reason why I'm going same for that. It takes the air out of their sail. I mean, you're just not getting any push. The only thing that they had writing that was on a positive on offense or defense in reality was him. And then he says, "I'm dead," and that should tell you something about the franchise as well. In a big market. In reality, even though you are the Jets, that's a big market out there. And he doesn't want to be in that market anymore, which goes to show this guy's more about winning, and which goes to show when you look at the coaching staff, it's not satisfied with it because they're not putting him in the position to be to be an impact player, to get the victories for your football team. And that's, to me, it's obvious. It slaps you upside the face.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying, Sonny. I mean, when you look at first of all, Seattle and the Jets at this point in time, you can't even compare. I mean, the Jets really, to me, starting with the head coach, I just don't believe in Adam Gase as a head coach.
Neither does the wonderful vote of confidence. When you get that, you're dead in the water. So by number 4, you can have a new head coach there, and a head coach going, "What the hell am I going to do with this?"
Yeah. I mean, it's just the situation with the Jets is I'm wondering, what is it that the Jets do well?
Yeah.
Like, when you can't even answer that question, like that's an indictment on the head coach and the coaching, particularly in the NFL. Yes. If there hasn't been a personality developed in some way, shape, or form, where we can just put our hat on something and say, okay, we do this, it's a reflection of who we are. They've got such a long way to go. The 49ers have that personality. You got your front 4, they're going to pressure the quarterback, and then on offense, multiple formations, motions, you're going to come at people physically, you're going to run the football, you're going to try to put Jimmy Garoppolo in good situations. I'm not really sold on Jimmy, but he's in a system that shows that works, and I feel they have enough to definitely get it done against the Jets.
M. Gates is going to get fired today because you think about it.
He's going to get fired after the game?
They're going to lose today, and I want him to win. But here's the thing. And this is the reason why they brought him in, okay? He's supposed to be that quote-unquote quarterback whisperer. Guess what? He's not. Okay, and all you got to do is look at Ryan Tannehill. Now, granted, he's having somewhat of success right there in Tennessee. But in Miami, I mean, he was supposed to be the guy, to turn the franchise around because he's a quote-unquote quarterback whisperer. And listen, the Jets fell into it. Adam Gase is not going to turn down a contract, okay? So, and never mind the big market. So he's going to take the money. It's just the problem is they just weren't smart enough in reality when they made this pick and decided that they were going to bring this guy up on board. Guess what? It was the wrong pick, and I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'm not sure what they thought, when they were bringing this guy in. I didn't like what he did in Miami. I mean, hey, they got to the playoffs, but it just he never engendered in me a sense of this guy's a real leader. Like
there's no sense of urgency in New York right now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, because if you create a sense of urgency, you bring on personnel. And let's be honest, once you lost Adams, you have no personnel. And that is the killer thing that's happening. And on the flip side, think about this. Go on the other side as far as that's concerned. As far as the Giants are concerned, the other guys that take that home field up, the Giants, they bring in a proven loser. I mean, a head coach that might be able to get you there. Here it is, your offensive coordinator, and you're just killing your football team. If you're going to make an impact, you got to make an impact big time. If you're in the Dallas market, LA, New York, Pittsburgh, you got to bring in guys that you go, that guy is a badass. So Kellen Moore on the offensive coordinator for your Dallas Cowboys. But what has Kellen Moore ever done that anybody think that guy's a badass? Okay, and believe me, we can go back and forth. But the reason why they lost that football game, that being the Dallas Cowboys, had nothing to do with that. It had a lot to do with the defense. But the simple fact of the matter is that play calling in the second half, the defense, get this, Guess what happened in that game, by the way, for all you Dallas Cowboy fans. Okay, it wasn't the fact that they shouldn't have won that football game. What happened is they went in at halftime, okay, and the Rams defensive players came out with new instructions on how to handle a wide receiver. And guess what? The receivers for the Dallas Cowboys stayed the course. They didn't change anything.
Wow.
They didn't make any adjustments during the game in order for them to win the game, which they had plenty of opportunity to do, and they just pissed that thing completely away. They didn't do any of that, and that is the reason why they lost that football game. It is coaching. It comes down to Kellen Moore. He's no good, and you can sit here and talk about Dak not being good. You can sit and criticize, McCarthy. This is an assignment from Jerry Jones, and that is the reason why Kellen Moore's the offensive coordinator. For some reason, I think I know what it was. I know exactly what it was. When Jason Garrett walked out the door, his lifetime supply of chapstick, he gave to Kellen Moore so he can continue very bad and flavors. How he feels. You want cherry? I'll give you cherry.
Hold on. This is me strapping in. I should have strapped in a long time ago for this Sonny rant.
Listen,
Cuervo, you just came in. I forgot at the end of this Sonny rant to strap in because he was going in on one.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, you're not. Listen, Dallas Cowboy fans, they're just pegging down the wrong reason why they're not a good football team.
Cuervo, there was a chapstick reference. I'm glad you missed.
So he knows that
one for years. I've been hearing that reference for years.
Yeah, he sold his lifetime supply of chapstick to Kellen. I'll tell you right now, I don't know how the guy has a job, and it's Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones, who's known to he has something. There's something about Kellen Moore that turns Jerry on to keep him on this squad, and that's it. And I don't know what it is, because I haven't seen it. Mike McCarthy has to swallow this. Mike McCarthy doesn't want him as head coach in as far as the Dallas Cowboys is concerned, or an offense coordinator there. He don't want him there. That is an assignment that he's stuck with, and they got to figure it out, and that's a bad thing. And that's the Jerry problem with the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry needs to just let that go and let them do something better. But by the way, your Pittsburgh Steelers in pretty good shape today. They ate up Daniel Jones. Like, you know what? They ate him up like he was a foot-long submarine sandwich, and they hadn't eaten in a week. I mean, that's how bad that was. I mean, and in Pittsburgh, in pretty good shape. Pittsburgh has Denver coming into town. Unfortunately, we didn't see a lot from Drew Lock.
Yeah, last week we talked about controlling the middle of the football field, Evan Ingram and Saquon Barkley. And I tell you what, Pittsburgh did a lot better on Evan Ingram. I thought he might have some success in week one, but I tell you what, when you can't protect, and particularly when you can't pass protect, it is open season. They blitz that offensive line. The Giants, it is criminal when you look at the New York Giants to watch what they've done on the offensive line. A team that has been built on toughness and being able to run the football. I mean, their offensive line situation, that is just abysmal. I know Pittsburgh's front seven is really, really good, but their offensive line is really, really bad.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just, you don't give anyone any chance. I think they'll, as the season goes, try to figure it out and be more physical, but they just, the physicality, Sonny, was really lacking in that game. And that's probably what was most alarming.
Big time. All right, let's move to rapid fire. 20 minutes before kickoff. That means we still got some games to cover, and I'm glad you're here. We're going to go into rapid fire. The Jacksonville Jaguars need a victory. By the way, you didn't see this.
Look at that. Cuervo, I've been waiting. The Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Nothing gets the Tennessee Titans going like playing Sonny's Jaguars. I wanted to know if Sonny is all in on Gardner Minshew pulling the upset. Let me strap in.
It's never going to happen.
You missed it. That was go back but I'll put Gardner Minshew sucks. Okay,
There you go.
changed, okay, all right. It hasn't changed whatsoever. Okay, even a blind dog will find a bone every once in a while. Jacksonville Jaguars game victory last week. And listen, you want to talk toughness? Okay, the Tennessee Titans they played bad. Guess what? They still won that football game. And that's what NFL football, that reminds me of the early years with the head coach for the Steelers. So what's his name is slipping.
Bill Cowher.
Yeah, Bill Cowher, when he first started over there, he had to put them together, but he gritted out games. That's what the Jacksonville Jaguars don't know how to do. Tennessee, they know how to grit out games. And Bill Cowher is one of the reasons why when I look at the Tennessee Titans, they have the potential of being the Steelers of this era, as far as gritting out games that they have, probably had no business winning in the first place, but they got the job done. And that comes from coaching. That comes from Vrabel. The Jacksonville Jaguars have a snowball chance in hell in this football game. Now, I said that last week. Okay. All right. So I don't know how cold it is still in hell right now. All right. So, but I cannot see the Jacksonville Jaguars getting out of their own way as far as that is concerned. Gardner Minshew is going to throw 3 interceptions, throw for 75 yards, and he's going to be, I don't know if they're booing in any stadium, but he'd be booed out of the stadium. But they're not at home either. They're on the road. So they might be cheering if he goes down. Tennessee is just going to rout them, and it's going to be old school black. Cuervo, NFC North,
black and blue division,
just physical, and that's what they're going to out physical them and beat the hell out of them. Cuervo.
It's the black and blue division, and
yeah, absolutely. But I don't know. I mean, are you willing to take the risk on the Jacksonville Jaguars, Cuervo?
Not today, Sonny. Not today. Look, I've got. By the way, Bryce, I confirmed that Sonny's hat is the second hat made in the history of the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is the second one.
This is the vehicle, the Jaguar.
That's that 1996 hat, Cuervo. Sonny was in heaven watching that team go to the AFC Championship game. He thought he was in for a dynasty.
Baby, that's what clinches me in.
He thought he was in for a dynasty, Sonny.
Tom McManus, the guy who comes on the show, got some mad love for Tom McManus, linebacker for the Jaguars. But that's where it is.
Oh yeah, he was a linebacker. Yeah, good player.
Absolutely, he can't. When Coughlin went down there, Coughlin knew him from BC, so that's the reason why I got him. But today, Tennessee, and as well as they grinded that game out last week, probably should have lost that game, but they grinded it out, and that's what makes good football teams. There, Bryce, grinding out games that you probably, and this one here should be cakewalk in reality for them.
I mean, I think divisional games, I like to see these two teams get after it. The Tennessee Titans like being physical with the Jaguars because the Jaguars traditionally have looked at themselves as a physical team. The thing is with Tennessee, man, to everything you said, Sonny, that tailback, man, I mean, he is. I mean, that dude, I didn't think coming into Denver he would have the sense. I mean, it doesn't matter what they do. He's a walking 100-yard game. I mean,
he's going to get 200 today because that whole
defense,
that defense fled the scene. They're out of here, man.
He got a lot of it. He's tough.
Hey, question, guys. Remember that 99-yard run that Derrick Henry?
Oh my God!
Was that not against Jacksonville?
That was against Jacksonville. It was one of the most embarrassing moments in Jaguar history.
I know.
They didn't want to tackle him.
I'm not an ostrich. I'm not a guy that's willing. I'm willing to poke my head out. But listen, the Jaguars, they were the blind dog that found the bone last week. Had no business winning that football game, and they did. So the temperature got a little cool in hell, and they got it past, and they didn't melt away. But
hey, Sonny, I don't know if we talked about this, but let me just give some quick shots. Speaking, had no chance to win in that game. How about Cuervo's Bears?
I know.
Hey,
wow. How about Mitch Trubisky with the comeback? I didn't see that coming.
Drunk.
Shout out to Cuervo. We bowed down. We clowned him about his team. We clowned him about his quarterback last week. We had jokes. He made us all look bad.
Yeah.
Shout out to Cuervo.
Well, there's a couple games like that. The Washington Football Club won.
Oh,
I mean, listen,
that front seven is all
no
over.
business beating the Philadelphia Eagles. Zero. And they pulled it out, but that's Chico, and that's a bear reference, being Rivera being the former Chicago Bear that he was. So, maybe they brought in that mentality. So
Hey, Bryce, can we call it? Should we predict it now? Chase Young, defensive rookie of the year.
oh, gee, here we go. It's already starting. My God.
I'm not ready yet, but I mean, why not? Let's see how he plays. I mean, that guy was giving them all type of problems last week.
Dude,
wait,
Really.
Whoa. Beep, beep, beep. Hey, back this up, okay? They're playing the Lions, okay? All right, so before we anoint him of the second coming of the Messiah, let's just realize who the hell they were playing. Let's kind of roll with that because I'm really looking. How about this? Okay, I think it's next week or the week after, the Green Bay Packers. If he can figure out how to do that against the Green Bay Packers, then I'm all for it, and then I will anoint him the Messiah. But until then, it was one game against the Lions, and I wanted the Lions to win. No question. But at the same time, I'm not ready to go that far yet. But hey, that's just me. But rapid fire, talking about Washington, they go to Arizona. In Arizona, and I think they're going to have fans in the stands there. Not very many, but I think they are going to have fans in the stands in Arizona because they like to open things up just like here in Texas. But that's a different story. Washington, listen, they're not going to have an answer to this, okay? Simple as fact, as much as I don't believe in Murray, okay, this is the kind of game that he wins. I mean, they go up against a football team that doesn't have an answer to anything, never mind a Kyler Murray that you don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to throw? Is he going to run? And that's the difference between Kyler Murray and RG3. RG3, you knew he was going to run the football, okay? A little bit different with Murray. You don't necessarily know because that guy can throw pretty well on the run. So if he's running out of the pocket, that guy can put some zip on the ball. That's the difference between him and RG3. You knew if RG3 got out of the pocket, that guy was running. You don't necessarily get that with Kyler Murray, and I think he's going to. I think he's going to eat up Washington in that one. What do you think there, Bryce?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Kyler Murray's a really good football player.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, he's an exceptional athlete just with his size and everything. And now they have Hopkins. That could be a very dangerous team. I'm not sold on their defense quite yet.
Not at all.
They got some players. Buda Baker can play. They got the outside linebacker. He can really play. But I tell you, offense, that receiver, and with Kirk and Edmonds, I think those are good football players, and I think they're going to get a different, like you said, I think they're going to get a different team than they got from the Eagles. I think it could be a close game, but the Cardinals go to 2-0.
Cuervo, looking at this one, I mean, I love what Kyler Murray does bring to the Arizona Cardinals. Well, this guy's 5'9". He's no taller than me. Had no business being a quarterback. But guess what? He's found a way to be successful. And that's another reason why, in the traditional sense, I don't like Kyler Murray. The guy's 5'9". For God's sake, he's
very Flutie-esque.
Yeah,
very Flutie-esque. And Doug Flutie was a really good quarterback.
Yep. So Cuervo, Arizona, as far as Washington, do you give Washington a shot? You want to take that risk and take the leap and maybe go with Washington after their performance in Week 1?
Well, I think Washington could keep it close, just because I think that Arizona offensively, I want to see what Murray can do if Hopkins is. I don't want to say that he's not available because of injury, not available because he's being doubled and triple teamed.
Mm-hmm.
So what does Murray do at that point? What's the next option for him? Where does he go? What direction does he go? So, does he rely on, Larry Legend, or does he try to use Christian Kirk, as Bryce mentioned? Like, what direction does he go? And I want to see him improvise.
Yes.
If Hopkins is out of the equation during this game. And,
See, if
and
you
I
can
think
get to
Arizona
that third
wins.
wide receiver as well, whether it be a running back out of the backfield or the third option,
Right.
because that first option, like you said, it might get shut down because, listen, Chico ain't going for it. Listen, Hopkins is not going to have a big day, okay? The Arizona Cardinals are going to gut this one out, which they're actually pretty good at doing sometimes, the Arizona Cardinals. I think they're going to gut this one out, and it won't be because Hopkins is going to rip off for 250 yards and 4 touchdowns. I just don't see it. But I do see him getting the victory, so it should be interesting to see how that is. We'll watch Kyler Murray in the back part of this. 8 more minutes. Let's go. Baltimore, Houston. Baltimore, better football team. Houston at home, though. Difference there. We talked about the big hole that's missing in Houston. You missed that earlier on our diatribe where we got completely off the wrong track, which we have occasionally doing here. But as far as Baltimore's just a better football team in reality. And I'm not going to be enough to, I'm not going to be the one that's going to be on the drugs to go ahead and pick Houston to beat Baltimore. Although I would love to see it, just because because I love to see the guys that are. Listen, I will jump on Jackson's ass for anything. Okay, all right, but I think they should win this game, and we'll see how fans react in this game because these two quarterbacks, they mirror each other. Bryce. They're the same guy almost.
Well, Sonny, I would have to. I don't know if I agree with that. I think they play the position in terms of being athletic, being able to move, but they're a little different. Whereas Jackson is definitely more on the move, more of a move guy, zone read. Whereas Watson can go on the move, but he can create in the pocket in a way where he's still looking to go downfield with the ball and throw. I think right now Watson is a little bit more of a developed guy from the pocket. I think Lamar can throw, of course, but Deshaun's a little bit better in the pocket. But the Houston defense, J.J. Watt is just one guy. That's not a really good defense.
Plus,
Baltimore's too much for him. I'm going with the Ravens.
Can I ask? Well, I'm picking the Ravens, and enough said about that. But I want to raise the question to Bryce. I don't remember if we've ever asked him this, Sonny. But speaking of J.J. Watt, Sonny and I have been on the campaign that Houston should have traded him as opposed to Clowney 2, maybe even 3 years ago. What do you think about now that a couple of years have passed? Do you think we're crazy to even have that thought? Do you think they should have done it?
I think you and Sonny moving forward to do this show should get drug tested.
Okay, fine.
Both of you, starting Cuervo, starting with you.
Starting with me, okay.
So
he's in the military.
Both of you need to be drug tested. A couple years ago, trade J.J. Watt? No way, no how. The problem is Bill O'Brien should have never been in charge of personnel.
What?
I actually like Bill O'Brien as a coach. He should never been in charge of personnel.
That's true.
As get someone else to do it because they should still have Clowney, Hopkins, and J.J. Watt on that football team, particularly when you got the quarterback you have. Surround him with as much talent as possible and take your run.
The reason that we brought that up is because we started seeing the injuries, the consistency in injuries, and the type of injuries. That's the big thing. Is the type of injuries.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Grab the value.
Should have been a red flag.
But here's the thing, though. Cuervo, Sonny, is I understand that, but when you have players that good, you don't trade them. That's my thing. Even I love Jamal Adams. The Jets should have never traded that guy. I don't think the Dolphins should have never traded Minka Fitzpatrick. When you've got players that can impact the game like this, you find a way to keep them.
But Bryce, he wasn't. And I think that's our point. There was no impact from J.J. Watts except for 1 year since 2016 because he's not out on the football field. In 2016, he played 3 games. 2017, he played 5. The 1 year, 2018, he played a whole season. Then he went to 8 games last year. The guy is not healthy enough. And what we were trying to do is find value. If you're not going to get the guy that's supposedly your guy, okay, you're not going to get the value. What can you get for him in reality? But I tell you what saved him was the hurricane. And I'm sorry, it just did. When that hurricane did, and he started raising money for Houston didn't have a choice but keep him. Then in reality, you don't get rid of a guy that just tore in and raised millions.
Absolutely.
I'm not talking just like one or two. He raised millions for the community. So the fact that hurricane came and that community got behind him is the reason why he's still in Houston. Or I mean, business is business in the NFL. If you can't put yourself and be valuable out on the football field from week in to week out, I think they should have traded him or got something that they could depend upon from year to year to year. But, you know, it is J.J. Watson. When he is in the game, he's a badass. So I get it.
And I feel at that point when he was battling with the injury, Sonny, that's good in theory. But if the guy is battling injuries, what kind of value are you going to get? His value, you're going to get high value, but it's still going to be lessened. So it's better. So it's going to be better for him to be playing well. And if he's playing well, you're not going to trade him. So that's why I'm like, I wouldn't have made that move. All joking aside, I see what you're saying, but I wouldn't have made that move.
Yeah. All right,
guys. I actually have to hop off, but listen.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, bro.
Always.
Always. We'll hopefully.
Cuervo, real quick, you have your Bears, Cuervo. Are they going to go 2-0?
Oh, most definitely they're going 2-0.
I actually picked them, didn't I? Yeah, I picked the Bears too.
Did.
Yeah.
I got the Bears too. The Bears go 2-0.
2-0.
All right, fellas.
Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for joining us. Bryce from Brooklyn. Joining us.
All right, I'll see you later.
Can you
we need to figure out a way to get him on for 3 hours. He just, so great. All right, so more rapid fire because the game's about ready to start because I know you want
I'm just going to pick them, and I'm just going to pick them, Sonny.
Yep. Kansas City Chargers, I think, is easy.
Yeah, Chargers all the way.
Yeah. Now, New England and Seattle. Listen, I'm not really Seattle. Listen, Seattle's the best team in the NFC right now, bar none. They're making the NFC Championship. If they can win that game, they'll go to the Super Bowl. They're the best team in the NFC. I don't think they have a problem in reality with Cam Newton and the Patriots. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way. I like Cam and the Patriots tonight.
All right, so Cam and the Monday night, New Orleans take on the Raiders. I think this one's a pretty much easy one. I'm on the Saints, obviously. The Raiders, the first game at home. I don't know if they're going to have people in the stands. I'll be interested to know that. But interestingly enough, the first game at home for the Raiders.
Yeah, first home game for the Raiders. I don't think it's going to go well, though. Vegas is going to be alive and all that. Well, as alive as they can be. But I still think that the Saints, even without Michael Thomas, the Saints are going to win this game. They're just a much better team.
And I didn't know Michael Thomas was going to be out. That's big. But again, I don't think. Listen. The blind dog getting the bone last week. That was the Raiders last week. Let's be honest. I don't think too many people thought that the Raiders were going to get the victory last week. Who were they playing? They were playing Raiders. They were playing Carolina.
They beat Carolina.
Yeah, they beat Carolina. So, listen, Carolina is not the New Orleans Saints. So same division of football, but not the same team. So that. We did it, Cuervo, 3 hours.
We got it done.
It's the fastest 3 hours, at least for me, of the week. The 3 hours that we do here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Everybody enjoy Sunday's rack of games. We're going to try to recover from an 0-1 start here on the Couch Potato Sports Show with Cuervo and I. So we'll try to knock it out. Everybody have a good week. We'll catch you next week on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Adios, everybody. Bye-bye.